Connect. Thank you. Good evening, Club Cult. Serena spam incoming. And welcome to Stream the Dreams Project. Been a pigeon all day today. And pull us out of purgatories. Gunther, you're freaking me out. Freaking me out, man. Welcome, Chaos Supervisor. Hope you're having a lovely night so far. Happy Caturday. Thought it was Sunday for a moment. Like, wait a second. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Get this how I want it, and then we're gonna bop in with Miss Peebs for a few. Let Gunther do what he's doing. Actual Gunther, not almost Gunther. Let actual Gunther figure his life out, and then we'll figure out what to do after Peebs. Literally like 10 minutes before I started stream. I got in here, sat down, I'm ready to press all my buttons. Send all my send. Now you're breathing weird, which Gunther breathes weird anyway. He has a pug face. It's very, very smush face. So he has weird respirations anyway. His gums are pink. He's okay. I just want to make sure we're extra okay. Oh my god. RNG, one of my infrequent feral friends, has been coming by so regularly the last 2 nights. It's like, dude, I don't have an appointment for you right now. Thank you for being on your schedule, but I don't have an appointment for you. Almost Gunther. Got a little acorn upgrade. He's in his little hidey hole. Oh my fucking god. What? What today, universe? Reconnection successful. What is this doing? I can't take any more today. I am silly stuffed out for today. Are we actually reconnected? Yes. Just started its own new stream. Okay, I don't know why it cut out or where it cut out or what it's doing to cut out. I quit. Kind of. Not. I quit. Good night. Good night. Good night, Club Cult. I'm lifed out. It was a good run. It was a good run. I just realized my speakers say Klipsch thanks. I don't think I've ever looked at the logo label for them. It says Klipsch, Klipsch, and then THS, thanks. Klipsch, thanks. Okay, I'm back under it. I'm not over it. Welcome, Cyogenics. I get another new acorn upgrade. Is it the same one? I don't think they keep selling the gray one anymore. I think it's only the pumpkin spice one. He's being a little Heidi man now. Like, at this angle, he's truly indifferentiable to Gunther. You can see his little skunk stripe on his nose. Happy Caturday, my dear humans of the world. Okay, you're standing up now. That's better. It might just be warm in here. What does the thermostat say? You're okay, Gun. Cutie. I'm not turning on the AC, but like, what the heck? Ow. It's like 80 degrees in here. Is it too warm for you, Gunther? Do you need a fan on? Should I have a fan on in the summer for him or for me? The fan that made my eyes water terribly, and then I was crying all night for like 2 streams, but not actually crying. I think Gunther's warm. I don't want to turn on the AC. Mostly because it's like the middle of the night, and if something goes wrong with it, then I have to deal with it. Not that I wouldn't during the day, but at least during the day there's light. I think in like the summer of 2017 or 18, I put on the AC in the middle of the night and it made a horrible stinking smell. And I had to call for emergency service because it scared me. He's a very cute little bub. He's a very, very cute little bub. Welcome, Smoops. Hope you're having a lovely night so far. How do I cool down Gunther? I need to reallocate my brain cells for a moment. Just bring up the fan for him? Like, will he sit in front of the fan? Maybe. It's worth a try. I just want to know if there's something actually wrong or just like pseudo wrong. I think he's just warm. Like, I'm comfortable, which means it's probably warm in here. Have him wear some sunglasses. They make you look pretty cool. Alright, Gunther. Here's the solution to our woes. Put on the heart-shaped glasses. He says my nose is too short to hold these up. He's very offended by the concept. Got some new chippies? What kind of chippies is they? Takis is a non-spicy nacho cheese chip. I didn't even know Takis had cheese. There's other Takis other than just the red Takis? Non-spicy nacho cheese chip now. Ooh. Yo, the Doritos are not as dusty as they used to be. Not that I can really speak from experience, but like how like Cheeto-y yellow my fingers, or orange rather. I'm not having liver failure. My fingers would get from Doritos when I was a kid versus my niece and nephew. Like just not even 10 years ago eating Doritos. They scrimpin'. They scrimpin'. Oh, he can't handle the sunglasses with his little pug nose. I don't think he can even handle his little pug nose right now. Dust levels are down. Shame on them. Does Takis make like a bunch of different flavors? I only thought there was red Takis. Like just regular Takis. Takis for context, and then... Not that I'm sure we haven't all seen Takis in our life before. I'm gonna grab the fan for Gunther and see what happens from there. I don't know what's going on with this dude. I guess the original defined... Wait. I've never even had the original Takis. I've had the Fuego ones. Whatever those are. I thought those were original Takis. My mind is blown. They have a blue one? Does it taste like blue? And a chili one? Oh my goodness. You know what were the best chips ever? Oh, let me see if I can think of them. The barbecue spiral noodle chips. I don't know what brand. They're not really noodles, but they look like curly noodles. Brand. I want the store junk. These. These are the supreme chip. Is the blue one extra spicy or the chili one extra spicy? I did not know this. I'm learning about Takis tonight. That's wild. Shame on them for scrimping on the Doritos. But at least they took all of the excess cheese transfer dust and put it over to the Takis. That's hype. Yummy. Yummy, yummy. Remember Doritos almost tasting like creamy by the time you chew all of them up because they were so cheesy. I don't think they're like that anymore, more than likely. The blue one. Oh, they're so interesting looking. Is that a candle? It's a chip wrap tumbler? I don't know what that would be. Oh, they're intense hot chili pepper and lime flavored rolled tortilla chips. They sound fancy. Sound fancy. You don't want to eat the blue Takis and hear Cyogenics, you're turning Cyan. Cyan? My brain is 100% on Gunther right now. There we go. You could ask me what the alphabet is and I wouldn't even know right now. Cyogenics, you're turning cyan. Okay, I'm gonna grab a fan for Gunther really quick because I don't know what his little good grief is. Like, he's laying kind of normalish, mostly. Where are you, sir? Now, before he was laying on his side like a sick horse and breathing heavy. Now he's breathing a little better. He was curled up in the chair for like hours. That's what he was doing. It's weird breathing. My hands are shaky. Probably doesn't look very dramatic, but respiratory distress is very serious. Very serious. Okay, fan. Where did I put the fan? I have no idea. Somewhere downstairs. find it, and then gave up and grabbed a big box fan. And I came upstairs and I found the fan I was looking for. I will preface this by saying I don't mean to be ungrateful in the slightest, because I'm very lucky and fortunate to have a roof over my head. Many people in the world do not have that. But God, I'm so fucking sick of being in this house. It is a state of chaos in the sense of, like, it is livable, but ready to be movable. And it's been like this for, like, I don't know, since October. And it's a lot. It's mentally overwhelming. It doesn't feel like a home. It feels like a place that I occupy and maintain. I don't know if he's gonna like this or if this is gonna sound obnoxious. I can't tilt it anymore, but does that make you happy? Fancy Gunther. See how you can vibe with that. I would say your name is Cyan based on my Google. It's approximately there. Robin's egg blue. One of the Baywatch ladies, there's more than one other than Pamela Anderson. I've never seen Baywatch. I got arrested recently for being a part of a group of animal rights activists that raided a beagle puppy mill to try and free them. I love her. How do I contribute to her bail fund? That's not a crime at all. Can I give her a high five? I wasn't there, but can I testify to good character? One of the few times we're getting arrested for something actually ends up increasing your reputation in most people's eyes. Hell yeah. I mean, if I ever go down, that's why I'm going down. Hopefully. Let's check the Discord. I have no idea who this person is. They're my new favorite person. She looks like my dad's ex-girlfriend. I don't know what other words for this that I have. Like her now picture looks like my dad's ex-girlfriend then.
To fame on Baywatch, like Pam Anderson posing on the beach in a red swimsuit. Now she's posing for a very different image, a mugshot. She spoke with Emma Cagliano.
That is true.
She ended up on the...
I think about that often when I have big feelings. Can't get arrested even if it's for a worthy cause, because the zoo does need me too much. As much as my dad loves animals, he would not take all of this on. Understandably, not many people would take all of this on. Yeah, I can't get in trouble. I have to be good.
The wrong side of the law.
This picture of her, she looks almost exactly like my dad's ex-girlfriend, his long-term girlfriend from when I was like in kindergarten until I was like in 4th grade, 5th grade.
Spoke with Emma Cagliano about how she ended
It's weird.
up on the wrong side of the law.
It looks like a military operation. 100 activists, all wearing white hazmat suits,
Look like
stormed an
beekeepers.
alleged puppy mill. And there's a famous face
Is
in
AG
their ranks.
tolerating all my noise?
It's former Baywatch star Alexandra Paul. For 5 years, she played a hero lifeguard in that trademark red swimsuit.
Red swimsuits just make me think of Wendy Pefcorn.
She's on a new mission. She says to rescue beagles from a dog breeding facility outside Madison, Wisconsin. The activists use crowbars and sledgehammers to break.
I know
into the
backyard breeding is
buildings.
awful everywhere, but like I feel like the
This
Midwest
time,
is so
breaks
horrible for
open
it.
a window. There are
He's not
rows and
reacting at
rows
all.
of cages
Oh,
full of
babies.
beagles.
God, that breaks my fucking heart.
There are 2,200 dogs in that facility. Let's go. We were able to take out 1% of them.
Alexandra carried this little guy out into the rain.
Oh.
She
See, I literally don't know what's worse. Like, they're equally awfully terrible, 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 terrible. But backyard breeders who have all the animals in their house and it's nasty and gross, or larger scale backyard breeders, I would still consider them like this, that have all the animals in cages in a warehouse. Like, they're both equally terrible, but I don't know which one is worse. They both break my fucking heart.
like a baby.
Okay, there are cops up here.
Why did the beagles need to be rescued?
Because they're living their entire lives in 2x4 cages with wire bottoms, and they never see the light of day. And they're
I think large scale stuff is definitely worse in the sense of like they're constantly getting money to keep doing all of this. That's why they are able to get this space for all of the dogs.
27 protesters were arrested
Which is
for
fucked up.
trespassing, including the ex-Baywatch star. The release of her
Go, girl.
mugshot comes as filming for the Baywatch reboot gets underway in Los
It's all
Angeles.
terrible.
Are you sad?
Spay and neuter your
Bring
pets.
character
No
back to
no
life?
breeding until shelter overpopulation is at
It's wonderful to
0.
rescue people, rescue animals,
God.
whether it's on TV or real life.
The facility sent us a statement calling the intruders animal rights extremists who were trespassing using sledgehammers and saws to break in.
Tyvek suits are not hazmat suits. Get your facts straight.
They are also assessing
But my fluffy one piece, what onesie suit was my hazmat suit for PB. Hi Boya. Just felt something boot my ankle. There's a little nose on my ankle right now. Gunther moved away from the fan. Now Gunther is tall and on top of the tree. If he was in respiratory distress, I don't think he would jump on top of the tree and be giving himself a bath right now. I think we're okay. He just likes to traumatize me. Breathe. Breathe. We do have so many animals in shelters needing homes, and people still do this fucked up shit. They do. They do. They do. 'Cause they're pieces of shit and choose to make money off of other living things. I recognize it's very different than times of slavery, but in terms of cruelty, it is just about the same as times of slavery. All the people that want a specific breed of puppy just need to go on Pet Finder. This website has been around for so long, and I don't know how more people don't utilize it. I don't know. You can literally find anything. GPS. My GPS. VPN likes to put me in Morris or somewhere in Texas. Give me some breeds. Give me some breeds. Looks like a purebred. He's very cute. There's a little scrunky babe. Oh, this is gonna kill me. I love the cockers. There's a little baby Pippi at my vet's office the other day when I was there with her. Scooter. Scooter is very cute. Welcome, Wath. Hope you're having a good night so far. Thelma. There's like 8 or 10 Cocker Spaniels right there. I don't actually know how to use Pet Finder that well. Not a bully breed. First thing that comes to mind is like a cane corso. A hunting dog. Aww. She looks like she got some pibble in her. She's cute. It's a baby puppy. It's a beautiful, beautiful bub. Bandit, so fluffy. Tater looks like a tater. Marlin. Girl looks like Ringo. A small Ringo. Look at those ears. Oh my god. She's gonna grow wings and fly away. Aww. He cute with the floofs. Jack with the ears. Aww. I feel like a lot of people, including my godmother, get golden retrievers through Aw, peer mixes. Breeders. Which I wish she wouldn't, but that's a stretch. That's a golden and German. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'll take it. Sometimes they get the most unhinged pictures. Aw, Murray's just a baby. He's just a baby. You can find literally any purebred dog in any shelter. Don't tell me that Ringo is a golden retriever. There's no way. Oh, Paprika's so little. And cumin. Little spice litter. Elvis, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. Nutmeg. Bianca. That's some kind of hound dog. They're a little off the mark with Golden and Airedale Terrier, unless they've done a DNA test. Not judging, just making a face a little bit. Doesn't say anything about a DNA test. He's really cute. Oh, but she looks more golden-y, and they look related. I mean, I don't see Airedale in there, but I don't even know if I know how to spell Airedale. It's actually a really good representation of the breed. Poppy. She might be a little bit doodly. I only saw the legs, I didn't see the head. She's a little too floof. That's a cute Airedale. He's very adorable. Just like with 2 clicks into Google, you can find any dog or cat that you could want in the world. It's not hard to do, and I wish more people would try. Let's see kitty-wise. Oh, it's a fluffy void. Eve. And Leia. Aw. Well, you know what? I consider Tank kind of a Tabaco. A little bit. Because he has an orange sploosh on his butt and on his tummy. But that looks way more Tabaco with her orange markings than Tank does. She's pretty. Aww. She's in Indiana. Aww. She's shy. A Torbico. That's what they're calling her. Okay. Mixed with Siamese ragdoll. That's an accidental litter if you ever seen one. Maria. Aw, she reminds me of Daisy. I miss Daisy. I've been so busy. I haven't been by my dad's, but she's doing really well. They love each other. I still gotta bring the dang... What's it called? The daisy tree that I bought over for her. I feel bad. I told my dad about it like dang near a month ago. And I was just like, oh, I'm not coming by apparently. Let's go see Miss Peebs. There's just so many animals in shelters waiting for good homes. And it's sad. Stop backyard breeders. Steal all of the dogs from your local backyard breeders. Maybe. Make our next sub-goal bail fund. Not for me. I can't get in trouble. Oh wait, no. Let me take all of that back. Otherwise, then we're officially a cult, and that's a little problematic. That's a little problematic. We can't do that. That's too far. Too far. Gunther, if you don't care about the fan, I'm gonna turn it off. The problem is the Kool-Aid is puppy and kitten breath, and no one can say no to that. I think that's the real issue. Too bright. Too bright. Voya has taken over the executive chair. He's so fancy. He's so fancy. He had to spend 2 days in my bedroom. He was a sad boy. He was a bit of... Actually not a mad boy. It's very weird. I actually can't tell how Voya is happier. Which is strange. I think he's happier in here because he's calmer in here. But when he was in my bedroom for a couple days, he was whiny. But he was way more lovey. Like how he used to be years ago. And then in here, I think he just takes on like the papa role. Or relaxes. I don't know. I can't tell if he's, bless you, a confident or an insecure cat. It's bizarre. Fancy man, which one are you, Voya? Right now you're mean mugging. Believe it or not, he used to be a bigger baby than he is now. Like stage 37,000 million clinger. And that's how he was when he was in the other bedroom. Or in my bedroom. But then he seemed worried when I wasn't in there. But he was more back to himself, like clingy, lovey, swoop into me, love me, all of the things. Just living up my butt and literally in love with me. Oh, tank test went through. Good. And then back in here, he's not frantic. Like, he's not like, oh my god, give me attention, love me, love me. Meow, meow, meow. Stage 30 clinger, so I think that means he feels more secure in here. Otherwise, he would attach to me. But I really don't know. It was nice for a couple nights to have him, like, back to his normal self. Not normal, but the Voya I fell in love with. Not that I don't love him now, but he's a very clingy boy. He has to put on an act of independence in front of the other boys, but he's a real mama's boy. He is. He is. Like, he slept all in the crook of my arm again and, like, was super in love with me. I don't know. Voya is in love with me. I will acknowledge that. When they all got into a scrap when I brought Almost Gunther in, I'm pretty sure what triggered it was Strange Cat inside, number one, and then number two, I think I opened the door too fast and made them think that Strange Cat was jumping out at them. Oopsies. And they all freaked out and got into a brawl. It was actually the worst cat fight I've ever seen, and thankfully no one got hurt. But next time I do a TNR, they're all going into separate playpens, so they are contained on their own. We're not doing that again. I could not have predicted that. Did not expect that. That was scary. No. Hello. So most cats, when they feel threatened, will, like, if you get into the middle of it, they'll turn around and attack you because they are so focused on eliminating the threat that you are also a part of the threat because you are interrupting them. And Voya is so sweet and loves me so much. He did not attack me for a moment. I had him on the other side of the gate once I got everyone separated. Thankfully, Gunther and Zeke weren't too hard on it, but Voya decided that, like, Zeke was enemy number one or something. It was quite scary. I got Voya on the other side of the gate, and I kept having to push him back over. And he should have attacked me in all of those moments, honestly. And he did not. You could see in his face he wanted to, and he did not. He's a good boy. He took on the Chauncey perspective of, I want to bite, but I won't. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. You're so cute and googly. I'm very sorry about that again, though. That was not anticipated or planned or expected. There have been so many times that I've had neighborhood cats have sleepovers. And even Tank was in there at first, but I've always moved very slowly with it. And I was so like, oh my god, I'm excited, hype. I think my feelings carried over to everywhere else. And they freaked out. I felt bad. I felt bad. No, they all get along fine, but I was worried about reintroducing them too. Sometimes cats, when they have a negative interaction with each other, and then you separate them and then reintroduce them, even if it's just a couple days, not a couple of weeks. Hi, babes. They decide that the other cat is the enemy. And thankfully, they did not decide that. Come here, sis. Oh my god, I need to turn off Twitter notifications. There's an Oops. I dropped you guys. Hold on 1 second. There's an astrology account where I'm pretty sure this girl is having like a manic breakdown. Not like a breakdown, but like a manic episode. And I'm getting a tweet notification like every 5 fucking seconds. And it's so annoying. Turning it off. The info anymore. It's like everything. Everything. And having been in manic episodes before, real recognizes real, and it's too much. It's too much. Come here, Peepers. You can tell me what the stars are saying. You watch the sky enough. No free butts. So tiny and silly. You're so tiny and silly. You're such a goob. I haven't found any more of her baby teeth. Sad. I want to find her teeth and keep them. Maybe she hasn't lost more yet then. Butthole. No, no free butts. Also, no butts. It's like her butt's telling me a secret. She farts in my ear. She's really cuddly in the morning. Like in the morning, I hold her for like a good 20 minutes in my chest. And then she'll get a little bit happy about my drawstrings and start playing with them for about 10 minutes. And then she's like, oh, okay, I'm done. She's a morning snuggler. Nighttime is for rubbing on my butt, which is what she's doing right now, and being a crazy person. In the morning, she's very snuggly though. But I look like trash in the morning, so I never take pictures of our snuggles. It's a peepers. Ah, Savannah. The kitten has been acquired. You're very snuggly in the morning. You're just a wild girl in the evening. I brought in the boys' little chaser pad, and she's been loving that thing. I'm gonna get some milk for her, and then I'm gonna turn it on. She's really cute with it. And by really cute, I mean hilariously idiotic. Welcome, Gray Fox. See, it's the cutest little bee in the whole world. We match. We both have ears. Just like, put me down. Quit messing with me, Mom. I know. I'm annoying. I just love you too much. I love you too much. Little Peebee Peeberson. Are you waiting for me on the chair? You're so tall and fancy. I'm moving your catfish. I'm moving your catfish. You little goose. Aw, I'm sorry, Gray Fox. I feel for you. It's a testament to how special they are in our lives, though. That we miss them forever. It's not fair. I was thinking about that a lot with Munster the other weekend. It's not fair. They should live as long as we do. But then we would be afraid to like pass on into the next life. Because we would want to be with them forever still. Like there's no happy medium that we can try to con out of the universe for that. It's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But I bet he had all the best days of his life with you. That's beautiful. Oh, Bumper. That's cute. That's very, very, very cute. It's a good girl. Meat flavored milk. I looked at the back of the ingredients to see what meat flavor it was, and it's chicken liver. Oh, it's gross. It's very gross. Here's 3. Good job, girlfriend. Aw, a little bumpy booper. Boop. Boop. It's so cute when they do that. It's a testament to how much they love you because they're activating their scent glands when they do that. Good job, sissy. One more, my little hamster. Little hamster Hamtaro. Yummy. 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 Good job. I don't know how she knows when we hit 6, but she does. Like milk flavored milk. Sometimes chocolate or strawberry if the mood fancies. I mean, I wouldn't be drinking this. But it just smells like cat food. And that's not a good smell. Oh my god. The real question begs, though. The Nestle powder for strawberry or chocolate or syrup? How do you make your flavored milk? I will not judge either way. I am simply curious. We always had the powder. But my godmother and my grandma would make it with the syrup, and they claimed that was superior. But I don't really remember if there was a difference. Let's put this back in the fridge, sissy. PB and J. PB and J. Makes me wish my name was Jay so I could be PB and J. Actually, the show. Oh my god, you dink. The show is Phoebe and Jay, but it sounds like PB and J. It sounds like PB and J. Up and up and up and up and up. I walked in and she jumped off the chair at the exact moment that I stepped forward and she somersaulted into my angle. The syrup is superior. Syrup is better. You grew up on the powder. Powder just took ages to mix is the real thing. Did it? It's been so long. I was never a fan of chocolate milk, but we definitely had the strawberry powder. I guess I was a more patient child than I am than an adult. I just heard you. Where did you go? Oh. I poked her in the ear and she ran away. More patient than you, apparently. And did you have like one last crunchy sip of the chocolate or strawberry milk at the end? Now she's on Tunnel Time. Tunnel Time with PB. You're such a little gremlin. The baby gremlin. I think she is really getting into this tunnel and liking it. She's in her circles. I love her patterns. She's so weird. She acts like a cat that I have never experienced before. Like, she's such a baby, and in a lot of ways she reminds me of Baby Munster so much. But her little patterns are so strange. And I have street cats. Like, do they grow out of those patterns? I'm curious to see what she does. What are you doing with your life, girlfriend? You have no idea. Yes, that acorn is scrunchy too. Maybe that's why they stopped making them and changed them to the orange ones. What you doing, Goob? Little bunny hop. Syrup you can also put on ice cream, which doesn't work so good with the powder. That is true. That's true. Would it not matter which is which then if you were putting either the powder or the syrup on ice cream if it was melted? Microwaved? If it was Goostamush? What are you doing, Goob? I thought she was gonna do a bunny hop. Oh, come here. You have eye boogers. You have big eye boogers. Come here. Where did that just come from? Come here. Let me micromanage you. Let me micromanage you. Uber. Phoebe. I would swear that she's deaf if I didn't know that she could hear, because she gets startled by stuff. She does not know a name. What's in a name? I gotta pick your eye boogers when you come out of there. Well, I'm never coming out of my play place then. Play place is my home now. The first street kitten is Sam's mom, so maybe that's part of it. I feel like that is part of it. Like, mom and the litter, but more mom regulating it. They would have been on a routine. They were born in the winter, so I would assume that mom cats are smart enough and knowledgeable enough to, like, pull the kitten back if they're going out in the cold. There's appropriate times in between predators to explore the world a little bit to whatever extent. What are you doing, you little crazy person? What are you doing? She just smacked the chat phone. She smacked you guys and then scared herself. She jumped back and startled. That was great. That really makes me wonder if it has something to do with her routines outside, like how she was raised. Some nurture over nature moments. Or I guess nature over nurture. We're trying to nurture over nature. You are wild. I wonder if motion tracking would grab her, or if she's too small for it or too fast for it. Come here, let me see your eye boogie. That's a big eye boogie. That's a big one. Holy shit. Do you have a cold? That's a big eye boogie. I won't show you guys because it's an eye boogie, but it's big. I don't know why I'm whispering, but I am. That's a big eye boogie. And keep an eye on that one. Because I've genuinely never seen another cat, especially not a kitten. Kittens are idiots. That is so routine. Like, just patterned in movements. Did your mama teach you that? Some good survival skills? I mean, considering she was probably born a couple weeks before Christmas, too. Or a few weeks before Christmas. Maybe even around Thanksgiving. I don't know. Oh, we're gonna turn your toy on. Okay. It would have been snowy and very cold, so Mom would have had to regulate them deeply. Don't microwave ice cream, and I won't shame them that do. See, I'm both better and worse than I used to be. I don't microwave my ice cream anymore but I like ice cream, obviously. So when I buy it, I just keep it in the fridge instead of the freezer, and then it's pre-melted. Is that bad? Is that a cancelable trait? Tac Tac is the best moderator trait. She really smacked you guys and then jumped back. It was funny. Welcome, welcome, Chaos Supervisor. He's doing pretty good. Almost Gunther, baby AG. Almost Gunther versus actual. He let me clean his litter box today. He got a new little acorn bed today. And he's doing pretty good. He's at the level of progress that I would say that the other feral, Gigi, that I'm trying to socialize is. And I've had her since the first week of January. So 2 months of progress in, and what's today's number day? From the 18th, from the night of the 17th until now, is pretty good. If he ever had people, I think it was when he was a baby and not ever an adult cat. Certainly no longer than like the age of 6 months old. But he's doing really good otherwise. We're at the level of progress that I am with Gigi right now, and that took 2 months, and it's been what, not even 5 days. I don't think I had the camera panned over properly for that. She flew and then wiped out. Oh, Peewee. Long story long, Almost Gunther is doing pretty good. He's scared, he's uncertain, he's figuring it out. I feel bad for him, but he's doing good. And he was laying on a fluffy blankie today for a while outside of the acorn, which was really nice. I like seeing street cats lay in cozy beds. That's my secret sick fetish. Think she's too zoomy when she's close to the camera for motion tracking to keep up. I would think so too. I have a little motion tracking thing that I could put on here, and I think that would be really funny. But I think she would be too fast for my cheap one. A really expensive one, like a $400 to $800 camera, probably it would work. But her and my $50 Amazon or Temu shit. Is it Temu or Temu? E or M? E or E? I hear everyone else say Temu, and I say Temu. I feel like phonetically it would be Temu. In short first vowel, long second vowel. I don't know. Welcome, Nikki Racer. You're having a good night so far. Welcome. Happy Caturday. Not cancelable, but certainly not ice cream sharing friends. You don't want my milkshake in an ice cream cup? My milkshake doesn't bring all the boys to the yard, neither does my melted ice cream that I keep in the fridge because I do sick shit. It's E, not E. That's not helpful. Is it either? Is it tomato, tomato? I feel like it's tomato, tomato. Potato, potato. Like, it, who knows? But everyone else says Temu. And I say Temu. Give me that butt. Now she's on tunnel time. Too much. Too much. Too much. A potential adopter, and hopefully, I don't know. Everyone just comments and says, keep him! I would take him in, but I have XYZ cats and this going on in life. And it's like, bitch, you think that I have like this perfect life where I have no problems? Like, come on now. Okay. I wouldn't comment and respond that. But someone in, ironically, where, because Void was like a few blocks over, like close to a mile. When I say like my neighbor, I just really mean someone in my neighborhood. So when I picked up Void, she was about a mile away, and this guy, Almost Gunther, has been in the same area as well. And I'm just shocked. Like, we were kind of like perplexed, like she travels that far. which females have a smaller territory, so it is kind of surprising for her. But males have a much larger territory, but still about a mile is like surprising considering how many people in the neighborhood already know put out food and whatnot. But he's been visiting their place and has a little shelter there and everything in case he does need to be released back out. He has more than one caretaker, which makes me feel better about life. Hi Stinky. You're so funny. You're so very funny. But he's been coming over there for about the last 2 years, which he first came by me, and I felt so horrible. He was just sitting on my porch being the cutest little dude last June, and I was going to the hospital because I wasn't feeling well. And I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, buddy, but please come back. I can't help you right now. I have to take care of me first." That was one of the times I broke my own heart. I felt really bad. I didn't like that I was having to put myself in front of an animal that was just sitting on the porch saying, "Hello, friend." Like he's skittish, but he's curious. I don't know how to describe that. So I've seen him for almost a year, but he's been hanging out over there for at least 2 years, which makes sense for him being about 2 years old. And if he was ever at home, then made into an indoor outdoor or just outdoor cat probably before he was any kind of full grown. Which I get it. Ow! Kittens are scratchy and kind of annoying sometimes, for lack of better words. Not actually annoying, but maybe annoying to the average person that's not a crazy cat lady. But you're unhinged. It doesn't excuse it. He's scared, but he's definitely not completely feral, which means he has to have some knowledge of people familiarity. So I have hope. I got some more almost gone through lore. It's Temu. Oh, so I say it right. Well, not the moo. I say mew, like a cat instead of cow. Mew, moo, mew, moo. It's a weird difference. English is so weird. Temu. I had a feeling it was phonetical. Temu. I won't tell anyone that, and I'll just let them say it their way, but I've been curious. I thought I was saying it wrong. You're so funny. What are you doing? Oh, I think you're chasing my drawstring. You're silly. This is like a nice passive backstretch. Been making AI music all day. Oh my god, I have kind of a funny story for you guys about AI music. So my vet, who's about as old as my dad is old, kind of like objectively, not like actually, but objectively in the eyes of the world. And so like early 70s, right? So my vet is getting super into AI music and he's finding like these it kind of like a country rock like twang but still like heavy AI music bits. And I guess he was listening to one during surgery and one of the vet techs there was telling me that the lyrics to the song they were sampling from a book called Haunting Adelaide, which I guess is a spicy novel. I don't know. I've never read a spicy novel, so I don't really know how that works. But if anyone has any knowledge about that book, please share because I'm now heavily amused that my vet is in love with an AI produced music song that has words from a girly spice novel in it. That's his new favorite jam. She's like, I won't tell him about it, but I can't stop laughing about it. I had to tell someone about it. So I guess she assumed I would know the book because I'm a reader, but I don't read spicy novels. I don't know. Haunting Adelaide. I'm gonna lose chat for a second and I don't think it'll update, but I haven't Googled it yet. I was kind of afraid to. I think it was Haunting Adelaide. Haunting. I wish Restream would update. Oh, it's a whole series, and there's a movie. I wish Restream would update when I move away from it. Oh, it's a dark romance novel. It became a viral book talk sensation. Oh, it's like more recent. psychological thriller and horror elements, and controversial themes of obsession, stalking, and power dynamics. Okay. It does sound like ghost corn. When she first told me about it, I thought she said it was I thought I heard a different word. I thought she said chasing Adelaide. So I like double checked the title because I wanted to Google it. I wanted to know. But then I was afraid to. Double check the titleage. As soon as she said haunting, all I could think of was the scene in Ghostbusters where the girl ghost is lifting his like sheets off and all that, and like that's all I could picture that the book probably is. In my head, that's the book. That's not the book, I would venture to guess, but in my head, that's the book. Made some EDM bangers. Nice. It does sound like ghost corn. Don't think it's quite as spicy as I suspected. She thought it was a spicy novel, a romance novel. I have no idea what it actually is. I have not read it. But supposedly. But I did too imagine ghost corn. I don't know, in my head, romance novels are just like essentially fan fiction, and fan fiction goes hard. I don't read fan fiction anymore, but I spent many years doing so. Little zoomer. Little zoomer. I think there's a music shares channel in Discord. I'm pretty sure. If there's not, there should be. I think there is, though. Hey, Stinky. You're such a goober. She is wild tonight. Oh my gosh. You got your zooms on. Come here. For being a single kitten, she's so good at like amusing herself too. She reminds me of me when I was a kid. Only child. You want your little chaser on? She might. She might. Oh God. That's gonna be the first in book club. I started the book club cult. Can read it and discuss it. I don't know. I kind of got burned on book clubs. I ran a book club it was suggested to me in a different site, and like everyone was into the idea, seemingly. Like I was heavily encouraged to put it all together. So I put it all together. I put a lot of hard work into putting it all together. And setting like a good amount of time where it wouldn't really interrupt life to just read a few pages a day. Like I didn't think it was rushed. I put together like a whole discussion for it. I put a lot of work and effort into setting it up. And one person ended up participating outside of me. And no one even showed up to the discussion. And then no one ever wanted to do it again. And I don't know if that was a me issue or if it was just a sure, let's tell Serena to waste your time on something issue, or I don't know what happened there, but it makes me scared to set up a book club again. It is kind of challenging with like the timeline of it because people do read at different rates and different amounts of free time available. But I think I made it so like if you did 5 pages every just couple of days, maybe 10 pages every couple of days, like enough to where you could just literally take the book with you to like take a shit and that would be enough. That was the mentality that I had for it, and it still didn't latch, and I didn't even pick the book, and like it was an experience. It was a learning experience. Oh, I appreciate that. I think I put it together well. I don't know. Something I like doing. I really enjoyed it. It was nice. Until it wasn't. It's just like don't ask me to do something if we don't want to participate in it. Hi, silly goose. I'm gonna put your little toy on. We're very into it. We're very into it. I like the book club. I don't remember what book I put together for it. It was so long ago. I feel like I did my best with it, though. I feel like I did a good job with it. And that's not my fault if it's not someone else's jam. It's just like the point of doing a book club is to have other people participating. Like, otherwise, I can just read on my own. And it's my own book club of one. Like, if that's what we wanted it to be, then that's what it can be. Oh my goodness. Drop Neon Center in the Music Shares channel. Awesome. I remember to open up Discord when we're back at the main station. I'll put it on while we're painting. We're giving up on the tape theory for my Harley gun, my Harley Nerf gun. And we're going to paint it. Or see how well paint actually goes onto it, or if I need to sand it. It's plastic. I don't know. I have not ever painted a prop like this before. She's hilarious with this. We're going to try it with the paint, and then if it still doesn't hold well, then I'll take the paint off and sand it. Turlet reading, now we're talking. I mean, I wanted it to be easy for everyone. It was, I think, like a 250-page book or something like that. I gave it a good amount of months to go together. Maybe that was the problem, where like it went on for like a good probably 5 months. I don't know the exact timing, but it was more than just a couple of months. Maybe everyone finished it before and was just like, I don't know. It's not my job to speculate. Not my circus, not my monkeys. It's like those friend group ideas. We should start a band or we should start a bar, which seem like good ideas in the moment, but then no one actually wants to follow through. I think that was probably kind of it. I just took it seriously. Which, you know, that's how you end up enjoying life and finding things to try and learn from and enjoy is just do it. Just run with the idea. If it's not hurting you, if it's not hurting anyone else, just try it. It's not the end of the world. I probably sound a little bit sour over it, and I'm not sour about learning how to set it up or put together the format that I liked because it was wonderful. I don't think I'm even necessarily sour about the level of participation. I'm only sour about the hype that did not unfold because I got really excited about it. One of the few things in life we can do, if possible, is to not poop on someone else's joy. That is a good point, though. It is like the broad ideas of we're gonna start a band or we're gonna open a business or we're gonna do this thing. And it's a great idea, but no. You are so funny with that. She gets very, very into this. I don't want to have it on for like more than a half hour for her because I don't want her to get fixated on it. But she really likes it. She was being very energetic last night, and that's how I got the yayas out of her. Like, what do you want? What do you want in life, girlfriend? It does suck when people don't match your level of hype. And to an extent, yeah. And I feel like the older you get, the more the suck doesn't really matter. It's just like, whatever. But I can pretend I was still a baby then, and it was okay that it hurt my feelings. That's allowed. Should all aspire to be somewhat cheerleaders in some regard. Doot, 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 doot. I could watch her do this for hours, and it's problematic. She's just so funny and so dumb. Actually, she's so smart, but she looks really dumb playing with it. And I love that. I mean that in like the most best complimentary way. I love dumb girls. Your group of friends, it was always upon you to organize events like camping or get-togethers. Boo! I mean, like, props to them for giving you the task because obviously you're good at it, but it's annoying to have that thrust upon you for everything. For everything. That's not okay. Other people gotta participate too. It should be rotated. Like, I don't know, some people do like family Christmases or something. My family always did like someone's house for each different holiday, like consistently. But my godmother's family, like for Christmas, for example, would go in between like this sister, this brother, this sister, this brother. I mean, she had 7 brothers and sisters. She was the 8th child, so I mean that's a lot of family to divvy up and visit. To be fair, probably just easier to go to everyone's house, but it's nice to rotate the tasks like that so you don't get burnt out by it. Like my dad refuses to do Thanksgiving anymore because he's burnt out by doing Thanksgiving. It's like I never want to cook a turkey again in my life, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you're good at it though. I don't even eat turkey, but just make one. But no. But no. It's okay. He does rock Cornish hens now for Thanksgiving. But no family. I love my dad. He's so weird. He's just so routine. Like, if you change anything, it's just completely different. I didn't give you the task per se, you just knew they wouldn't do it right. All that I can understand. That's how it is with many of my friends. Where it's like, we're gonna plan to do this, but your plan is going to be like the rough draft and miss many fine details. So if I don't create a secret plan that I know is a part of your basic plan, but with all of the details combined, and then just execute it quietly in the background so everything seems smooth and cool and calm and well oriented, then it's gonna be chaos. It's gonna be bad. Not saying I'm the most organized person, but I like a good plan. I like a good organization. I do. About deep fried turkey, I don't think you could pay him enough money for anything to deep fry a turkey. Maybe $1 million. That would probably be my dad's starting bid to make a deep fried turkey. He's apparently very burnt out on turkey. I don't know. Hey, Dabiba. It's pretty quick and easy. I think it would make him nervous though. Like I get my fire fear. Everyone should be afraid of fire, but I get my insane fire fear from my dad, and I think he would be afraid of it setting on fire, like doing one little detail wrong. My dad and I are very similar in that way. We get in our own heads about like trying something new, but then things can go wrong and how to prevent them. And you get too wrapped up in your head and anxious about what could go wrong and then end up not trying to do the thing. The baby peanut. The baby peanut. It's not worth the hassle, as he would say. Did she almost get it out? I think the hole for it is. Oh my god, you did undo the Velcro. You goober. You're very smart. You're very smart. I'm glad I found the yellow setting for that instead of the purple or the red one, I think is the other one. There we go. Pardon. This one is much less birdie, which I appreciate. Burnt out on bird sounds. Ah! Sorry, Peebs. My hands deceive me. I drop things. I just touch them and drop them. I don't know how, but I do. I am skilled. Ow! I was laying on my wrist for too long. I'm not sleepy. Wake up. You get it? Look at you, you stinker. She lets herself get distracted, but then she gets impatient, and then she antagonizes it. I think this is the most gentle setting that it has. I don't want him to be going around like crazy for her. And she's gonna walk away like she don't care. And she's like, but wait, it's supposed to do things. Do things. Do things. Do things. You got it. It's gonna do things and then it's gonna spook you. Did you get it stuck? I don't think you can get stuck in there. Why is the thing moving? I just got it. I just got it. Keeping peeves on her beans, that's for sure. Alright, you can have it for like 15 more minutes, but I'm gonna go back in with the boys, okay? You be a good girl. You be a good girl. Hi. Hi. I love you, monkey. I'm a monkey, Mamu. I love her too much. I love you too much. You have very selective hearing. You're gonna scritch me. Oh, we gotta get the toy. You can do it? She's using me as a peekaboo point. You get it? You get it? You can do it! Oh, you're funny, sis. You're very funny. I love you. I love you, little beanie boo. I love you, little beanie boo. So little and cute. She's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Her and Almost Gunther are in competition. I blame Gunther for making me feel like I need to try to help Almost Gunther more than we already helped him. Keep looking at Gunther and thinking, you know, if someone didn't take you in as a stray, you would still be outside or maybe not even be around anymore. Which, I mean, I would say that Almost Gunther is semi-feral. Probably about Tank status, just Tank was more confident versus like a stray cat, but still. Hi, bub. I really feel like he's had some people interaction, but again, God knows. Blurp. Blurp, blurp, blurp. I'm gonna grab some paintbrushes. And then we're gonna give this mother sucker a go again. Cause I mean, like, it's not gonna fly. I am still shocked that Tank walked in. Until the day I die, you could blow me over with a feather that he walked in the house. Honestly, I think, and this is going to be really sad, so cover your ears if you don't want to be, like, bummed out for a moment. I think Tank was just giving up. He was physically dilapidating. He was bonded to another cat, his girlfriend or whatever, and I don't know what timeline before he came to me that he passed away with, but he must have been the king of a couple of blocks over, and he must have gotten kicked out of whatever that area is by other males, and that's how he ended up wandering over here. Like, he literally only went between that house's bushes, and then bushes on the other side of the house adjoining the first one that I mentioned. Like, I think he was just giving up, and he realized that I was a source of food. There was that one night that he, like, trotted over to me, and that was the night that I knew we would be friends. I don't think it was about me. It was just that, like, he was giving up. Like, there is nothing else to live for except for a good fat meal. And I provided a good fat meal. I think that's about where Tank was at. And that's giving him, like, a lot of people emotions. But still. Aw, thank you so much, Chaos Supervisor. And an awesome human alert up in here. Thank you oh so mucho. I appreciate you. Bop you up on the board, but thank you so much for being a part of the Stream the Dreams project. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. I still need to adjust our TNR goal, but currently we are a little bit over halfway, and thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Round of applause. It's sad, though. I think Tank had just really given up. And again, that's like very people feelings, not really animal feelings, because they live in the moment. They're not sitting around, especially not street animals. They're not thinking about, like, oh, woe is me, I lost my girlfriend, I don't know where I'm gonna sleep tonight. Like, they're just in the moment, on the go of, like, food, bird, house, person, car. That's where they're at. But I really think he had just given up, and he was like, okay, everything else is bad, but there's a source of food here, and I'm gonna make friends with that food source. Even walk in the door, because there's probably more food in there. That's where she brings it out from. That means there's more inside. Maybe that's why he walked in. Maybe. You never know. You never know. That's possible. How you doing, Mr. Gunther? Are you breathing better? You're still breathing like a hot boy. But you're not mouth breathing. What is going on, son? Today's menu is a choose your own adventure. Evidently. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you so much for the gifted. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Awesome human alert. Alert, alert. Boop, 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 boop. Thank you. The world is exploding. Thank you so much for all of the support for the Stream the Dreams project. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A round of applause. Round of applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bear, aka Jimbo, and RNG, and Naked Butt, salute your service. And Almost Gunther does as well. You know what, that's what I want any other lawyer I ever meet in my life to say. I believe in your case. I believe in my cause too, and thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the Stream Dreams project. Thank you for being the awesome human that you are. We appreciate you oh so mucho. Oh so mucho! Thank you, thank you. We're so close! And 7 plus 2 is 9. I can do some numbers. Not all numbers, but some numbers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, thank you. update the pin for us here. I think there's enough study to cat to know they do think beyond the here and now. I feel like house cats definitely think beyond the here and now, but I really wonder about wild and feral and street cats. Like, they're so focused on survival. Is there anything more than the here and now? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again so much. I did numbers. I did the numbers. He was feeling real sorry for himself. He was ouchy. He was not doing well. I want to find the TikTok of when he crawled in. I still need to throw all my TikToks on the wild world of Serena. The day that I knew. You know that like feeling when you're a kid, like Santa's coming in the morning and you're just so giddy in your diaphragm? That's how I felt the night that Tank came by and like ran to me from the other house. How far back is Tank here? Is Tank recent on my TikTok? I really did not post to TikTok much after the saga of Tank. There's him coming inside. There's his first churro. Ah, there's him running up for his food. Shh, fuck off. Let's not show. I mean, it's dark anyway, but let me try and make it better. The distant Tank. You just like have to predict his motions. That's the night I knew that we were gonna be friends and I was gonna be able to try to save him at least. Hungry boy. He was so rough. He's like, I don't know about you, but you have food. I was talking to him. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I got the food. He was so on guard. It's amazing how like big and healthy he is now. My boy. So that was just the best time of my life. To see him trotting over like that. Little distant Tank. Tank of the distance. Like a homeward bound moment. Whoa, color change. What's going on here? Thank you for the 500 kicks. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you oh so mucho. Late night math. Is there even anything she can't do? As far as anyone else is concerned, no, I can do everything. Oh, I want to put that on t-shirts. Keep your yapping, I'll keep on snacking. Feed your local community cats. Round of applause. Thank you so much, Chaos Supervisor. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Update the board. Now I gotta grab our paints. See what we can do with this thing. Hi, Biba. Thank you oh so mucho for supporting the Stream of Dreams project. Thank you for being an awesome human. Appreciate you. Dreams. Twitch balked on me. There we go. That was awkward. Merp, merp, merp. We appreciate the boost. Boost. Hi, Mr. Voyabean. Oh, Voya thinks it's treat time. I think my alert sounds are low right now. I don't think I've updated them since new computer. But I think Voya is hankering for treat time. They're Pavloved into the sub sound for treats. I didn't do that. You guys did that. The expensive snacks. The fancy snacks. Pee-pee snacks. Making the musics. Very nice. Very nice. There's a lot of credit to people who can put things like that together. I have no knowledge of. Will you sit? You sit? Oh, he's a good boy. Okay, obviously you're feeling fine. You want cookies. Good job, Zeke. There you go, Bean. Redemption earned. Redemption. Oh, I forgot we got these. These are soft. The little Alice in Wonderland ones. Zeke will not miss snack time. He is a snack man. I think Gunther's feeling good. I just freaked out earlier at how he was breathing. Zoo can just look at me funny, and I'm like, are you okay? Is it an emergency? And they're just like, well, I mean, I guess there would be a problem if they were like, you know, like Tank, but turns out Tank was like that all along, and I was just too foolish to know that. It's not my fault, though. It was his doodly eye that was the bigger pupil, and if he's always like a little droopy on one side, then you can't tell. We like these? Fish and chips flavor. I'm gonna grab the paint. Or the paint brushes. My bubs. Oh my god. Oopsies. Sorry, that was loud. Sorry. Mom sucks. I brought up a box fan and then I just left it in the hallway. So I couldn't find the other fan, and then I found the other fan, and coming back into the boys all in like a little triangle together from treat time. It's like they're in a summoning circle, and it's funny. What style or genre of music do you like? Pretty much anything except for country. Although there is a cute little country song. Every once in a while I hear something that I like. Most of it I don't, though. I don't even know it's a country song. It sounds twangy. I'm assuming it's a country song. What are the words to it? I keep meaning to look it up and I keep forgetting. Superman is just a man sometimes. Like that's a very country lyric, I feel like. Yeah, Morgan Wallen. He's a newish country guy, right? I'll literally listen to anything. Classical music, classic rock, EDM, rap, punk, pop, alternative. Pretty much anything except country consistently. I don't know what MGKL style is. Ziggy has not been quite as meowy as when I first got him. He's a very insecure cat. There's nothing wrong with him to be less meowy. He's just feeling more settled and more secure and less frantic and attached to me, which is nice. I appreciate that. This one is stupid and nice. I don't know. I like it. It reminds me of me. I can relate. No, not like that. Too much sounds. Like, it sounds sad, but it's not sad, so I don't know. It's cute and sweet. It reminds me of me. Superman is just a man sometimes, and Superman is just a Serena sometimes. The tape was a good try. It was a good effort. Thank you guys again so much for all the support tonight. I appreciate everything. Showing up, chilling, supporting the Strain the Dreams project in every way possible, being the awesome humans that you are. Thank you all so much. A song for me? I look forward to this. What shall this be? You get a very grab bag playlist tonight. Should have taken a picture of this, but I have our MS Paint mock-up. Pretty sure FaZe got kicked from the tourney that was this week. I mean, this is kind of staying on, but I don't think I trust it to stay on. It was an attempted effort. So there is always exceptions to the rule. There's maybe like 10 modern country songs that I really like are on my playlist rotation, but to listen to the country station would be a commitment that I'm not ready to make. Mm-hmm. Kicked? What did I say of kicked? I'm stream of consciousness. I have no idea what I said. Ugh. Anyone need a bracelet? I don't know what I said. I'm racking my brain. I have no idea. Oh! They lost. Twice. I want to peek at some of the highlights while we're painting. Because I'm just fucking nosy, but... Not kicked out. That's a bad way of saying it. Oopsies. That's my bad. They didn't get in trouble. They just lost. They get in trouble with me. They sucked. I think. I don't know. Maybe they played well and everyone else just played better. That's always possible. You never know. I think they got to all 3 maps in both, though. Versus Aurora, and what was...
Here they are. Still gotta play the...
In Rotterdam. I don't know where Rotterdam is, but... I had a phone. There's a song in Ridge Racer that was Rotterdam Nation, and I liked that one. Who did they play today? No, yesterday? 2 days ago, the 20th, I think they played. Tyloo. Oh, that's shorter. I think they only got through 2 maps. I'm guessing. No, 3. They just got whooped real fast. 4. No, 3.
They have...
No, I misspoke. not actually kicked. Kicked out in my mind. Let's check it out. Which one? Is it the first one or the second one? I know not. Which one? First or second? Tell me which one. I'll be right back. I gotta pee. Because, you know, I need to announce that to the world. Apparently. Baby Gunther, are you guarding outside of Almost Gunther? I keep calling them Big Gunther and Little Gunther. You know, like how if you have like a dad and a son of like, you know, like Big Bob and Little Bobby. Big Gunther and Little Gunther. I don't like about that toy and like the circle sleeve thing is it doesn't have an auto shut off like the spinny thing in here does, and I wish it did. The first. What is happening here? I missed meds o'clock. Oh, how do I volume? You don't want to freak out. AG. Little agriculture cat. Ugh. That was awkward. Oh, this is cool. Bravo. Bravo. It's a good song. You know it's a good song if you've just started listening to it and you can already hum along to it. It has a good vibe to it. I don't think I have Squeezy Red. AG is also the element for silver. Aww. He's a silver fox. Actually, he's a tuxedo cat, but, you know, close enough. Rose? Is Rose Harley Red? Crimson. Harley is probably crimson. I mean, I try not to cry on stream. Come on now. That one's too pinkish. Rose. Rose. This is cool. Bravo. Probably much better than whatever song my vet was listening to. In fact, I can guarantee it. Haunting Adelaide. Adeline. Haunting Adeline. Gonna be my new hype song. It was very cool. It's very cool. Pulling off white and red paint. Both are acrylic. Matte acrylic. Regular acrylic. I poured out a lot of paint. I didn't even pour out that much paint. They're beautiful. Thank you so much. It was very thoughtful. I like it. I sure do. AI did good. Chaos Supervisor did good. Do I have a lighter out here? No. Imagine this is a lighter. I mean, I could be like the cool kids nowadays and... There's my mock-up here. The ref file. V1, I think, is what I wanted. I try to be. I try to be. Play 2.0 after this one. It's very cool. It's my Nerf gun. I tried trying to make it like Harley Quinn style. I tried putting tape on it, and the tape ended up peeling back off of it. So I'm going to try putting paint on it this time. And, oh, I didn't finish getting the tape off of it. I thought I did, but I had to pee. Okay, good job, Serena. If it doesn't hold still, then I'll take the paint off and sand it down again. I just don't know where my sandpaper is. And I didn't feel like searching for it any more than I did, so I just decided, we'll try this. This is my Nerf gun. There are many like it, but this one is mine. That is true. I did a really good job taping this side. I probably could have left it. My scissors are in almost Gunther's room. What do I have that's sharp? A hole puncher. That changes things. Maybe. It creates a disruption, a disturbance in the force. Or not. That didn't do anything good. Use brute force. Welcome, Midnight Dynamite. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. These are nifty, thank you. Make sure I'm not too loud for AG. He doesn't seem very sensitive to my sounds, which is good. But I don't want to scare him. He's just sleeping in his acorn. I like seeing him be able to sleep and rest, and at the very least, he gets a little vacation that he didn't sign up for, and he gets some comfort, you know? So far, so good, and just got better. Nice. Voya's taking over the executive seat. I like this one too. This is beautiful. Bravo! Bravo! And going around writing AI music for different streamers all night. Nice. Did you Google me whirling dervish? It's funny. I come up, Serena Williams comes up, and Serena Vanderwoodson from Gossip Girl comes up. It's funny. She lost her tan when she quit tennis. I know nothing of tennis or tennis people. She's a twin, isn't she? Serena and Venus Williams. Oh my god, we're getting there. Why did this stay on so good versus the other ones did not? Maybe the red tape just doesn't like to stick, but the white tape does. They're not twins. I feel like they're always talked about together. I think that's why I assumed that. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is. Whatever you want it to be, bed be. It's a choose your own adventure, and thank you for taking time for being here tonight. It's a bop. It's a jam. I know nothing of tennis. I'm not Han from... I stuck my finger in paint. Two broke girls. Oh, I need a thing. I eat grony macaroni. They're very cute. I just sat on my Nerf gun. I didn't think about that. I didn't look before I sat. They're both Olympians. They're in the Olympics? I'm learning a lot right now. Depending on which name of mine you search, you either get famous rappers, you get a big shot lawyer, retired helicopter technician, and a major general. That's pretty epic. There's a tie, what if you put your name in? Result number 7 was your favorite wrestler. So yay me. Story for life. Nice. That's funny. I think this would be a good brush. Not being very, very precise right off the bat. Just existing a little. Bravo. Those are glorious. They were marvelous. They were beautiful. Appreciate that. Thank you. What is the source for my image? There. Blurp, 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 blurp.
The game. So best of luck on the attack versus an Aurora that's going to be banking on Santerra's outside. To rain terror
Boy is so lulled over in the chair. Where's Gunther?
For the time being, it's a bit of a pause for FaZe Clan out of the gate. We've got that solo lobby play coming through from Frozen. And Kerrigan bringing bomb late to the party as we see the singular smoke drop.
He's still breathing heavier, but I think it literally is just the temperature.
Here to try to give Jacob that pistol round impact. Santerra's quick fallback into main. Here's the door behind him. Wants to stick around for the
I don't think it's serious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have jumped on the treat. He wouldn't have wanted treats. Make sure AG can tolerate this.
He's gonna try to get to him, and Kerrigan knows he's getting shot at, but just wanted to dip out to cover. His job was gonna be the
He has not moved.
Now Soulfly knows with the knife out, it's time to just defuse.
So you go ahead and stick that bad boy, bro.
He's so cute.
Gonna have to run it all down, and those dual Berettas will keep him at bay. Nothing he can do about it. The fact
All right, here goes nothing.
Establishes the first 2 kills. I think you just take that.
He's gonna do the back part of this in white at first, and we'll see how it stays on and dries. I already tell it's gonna take 2
They're a
coats.
team we respect, I think, for consistency at this level right now.
I'll have to do a clear coat over it, assuming it actually stays and doesn't like bubble weird. This whole section is gonna be white. It's acrylic paint. It's not latex. Latex, I think, would bubble weird. This is my canvas paint. I don't even think it's like the right paint to be using for this. It's never stopped me before. I did make sure my squeezy tube wasn't oil paint though, because some of these are oil. Doesn't matter too much if I'm on canvas, but it does matter if I'm on plastic for that one.
reopening the ramp room simultaneous with the utility usage inside of Hut. That's going to give away Xantaras' position, so Kerrigan stays locked in on that one. And good
I'm just
job on
curious
FaZe.
what it'll
The
do.
fact that even with those
I
three
probably
low health
should
bars,
sand
they
it.
keep all four
But
players standing.
you never know.
I think Dupree
You
mentioned
don't know until you try.
that FaZe should try to stay in a smaller range, I think, of ideas. Just keep it more simple.
So we
Like when
try.
you're not playing that way, you play your B or C game.
Never
As
hurts to
I
try.
know Alicia's
Well,
talked
rarely
about in the
hurts to
past.
try.
Uh,
You know, like trying a skateboard trick. That might hurt sometimes.
no,
That's an
But
AK-47
usually, it
with
never
a
hurts to try.
push.
And that is bomb possession in trophy. That one flashbang that Aurora come into the round with has net them a hell of a position.
That bomb's just so awkward. But to get a kill and lower, this keeps the numbers even.
Recovery's underway. Still, talk about making your job harder than it has to be. Just caught by that. Kerrigan starting to piece together the recovery of the bomb. They're going to smoke it off. So, yes, you found a second frag. You've taken man advantage back. But still, sitting on top of that bomb at the moment are two AK-47s.
It's an interesting spot. FaZe are going to have to decide if they think that Aurora are sitting on the bomb or not. But with trophy control, you have a great angle to fight people, even if they know you're there. You can stand on so many different spots and take a fight.
That'll help.
Oh, the smoke to try to dip into it, but they haven't actually pushed just yet.
Could be enough to just get Aurora to reposition, though. You know that this could get scooped up silently.
They're ready to go.
Can anyone else see the question mark floating above my head?
And Aurora will get up into heaven. Twist will probably keep an eye on this in a second.
20 seconds.
Yeah, they take too long.
we
One
just
kill
do
and it's a
nothing?
mess.
It's a loud stab and a stomp in the front of the site. Twists locks in behind the vent.
Wow, they're not even going to try it.
All right. Oh, very gentlemanly ending to this round, considering it starts with the gloves off.
That's a little
Back in the
scary.
Trophy room. They're willing to cut their losses. Two AK-47s.
See buffering logo above your head.
The guns are out with the AK saves.
that can also be true.
It's pretty massive for the money. Done the math right.
That was kind of bleak.
Oh, what a find!
Great break.
What a find!
Loxic just softening up the edge of that smoke. grenade.
Sanding would be best.
Off the round. Arcadia's timing
I wholly acknowledge that.
is not going to be tested.
I'm just curious if it'll work without it.
To give himself away, to welcome potential sprays back. Just going to bank on Soulfly's reposition downstairs.
Like, if it looks a little bit imperfect but not bad, I don't want it to look perfect. That's the thing.
Back a bigger
So
on
it looks imperfect but not bad.
This player can get locked up.
That's the ideal.
Yeah.
Because a couple of little imperfections here and there are going to make it look more Harley-ish. Whereas if I sanded it, then I would have to take time for that, which that's like no time at all, but whatever. I didn't feel like looking for my sandpaper anymore. Then I would want to sand it down a little bit after too to like create distress. So maybe I'm eliminating the middleman of sanding by doing it like this. And if not, then just clean it up and try again. The right way. And buy some sandpaper if you can't find it. I do want it to look somewhat distressed, but more of a smooth paint job than that, if that makes sense.
Aurora today, you don't roll out of bed too intimidated by this FaZe clan. I know that in interviews, people like to be political sometimes and still speak of FaZe as a team you never underestimate. You never let your
Since I cannot be held responsible for my ADHD, says Midnight Dynamite. Saint Serena, where are my PJ shorts? The last place you took them off. I don't know. I value my comfort, so I very rarely lose like my pajama clothes because I remember where I was most comfortable last.
They're scared though. I mean, they're thinking about heaven, but they're also
I wouldn't lose my
worried about
pajamas
coming
unless
into
Chauncey
the
would misplace my
If you
pants
start
because he
setting
used to
smoke
bring
up
me
in heaven,
pants
so,
while I was
you
on
gotta
stream.
plan for it. I
Like
like
the
that.
first 2 years that I had him, he would bring me pants while I was camming. He would bring me my pajama pants or like any pair of pants that he could find. Not all the time, but like once every couple of months, he'd bring me a pair of pants. And it was very cute. And then he just gave up on it. He was like, okay, I guess my mom doesn't wear pants.
Yeah, the perfect setup for the double heaven right
So many PJ items, but only one set of shorts. Oh no, they weren't worn recently. Maybe you put them in where you store your boxers. If I were you and I was putting away laundry, I would think, okay, well, I have a lot of PJ pants. These are going to get lost. They look like boxers. Might as well just put them with my boxers. Then when I'm looking for shorts, I'll grab shorts. That would be my mentality.
The crossfolks come out. They have been putting pressure on them with spams. But are we talking about nades outside right now? Doesn't look like it.
I'm guessing they're in with wherever your boxer shorts are. And outside of that, I have no clue.
An instant duel lost here.
Under the bed or in a dresser somewhere.
Tries to drop the smoke, but there's still this
Which is
gap,
not
so Kerrigan
helpful.
knows you're stuck in on the right side still.
Just gonna try one coat of that
Kerrigan goes for the
first.
flash. It's the moment for Woxic to
Oh.
reposition. Kerrigan
Yeah,
wants to join
I have
forces
no
with
idea.
downstairs, but he gets double peeked in the middle of his
They're on Amazon waiting for you to put them in your cart and check out.
Madrid
That's where they
check
are.
it out through Squeaky. This draws Jacob back into the firing range where Woxic's gonna put him to rest. And that,
They
my
might be in the
friends,
future now.
is a critical error. Bomb getting stuck behind the box.
That's how I would organize it. But I rely on like step-by-step systems of like if I have no brain cells, what am I going to think?
No coverage. A little disjointedness here from FaZe Clan. Could cut
Online shopping? What kind of boomer do you take me for? I don't know. I don't like shopping IRL. I do most of my shopping online.
CT side. 4-5 game.
This was all white and then I started the red over here.
Twist.
We'll see if it matters.
So let's
How about that?
try.
Madrid's able to hold his position.
Let's try.
Costs him his life as Lucadia's got to turn attention back around. Okay, Jacob. Beautiful couple of headshots on his entry.
You know what? I give you much credit for that because I don't think I've ever ordered anything through the mail. I wouldn't even know how to.
Steps closer. Oh, frozen. Offering up that space costs Brokey his life, and then the op coverage out of Woxic is good for this retake to start rolling forward. Kerrigan preoccupied.
I give you much credit for that.
Flashbang to get him out of
I aspire to be so
there.
cool.
And then a backstab out through
I'm not being facetious. I am just a tired voice, apparently.
It's Jacob with the triple.
I hear my tone after I say the words, and I'm like, shit.
And makes those kills look all too easy. Katie not having it. FaZe Clan wasting no time.
He just stayed there.
Okay. Soulfly with the triple. Bullets dwindling in that M4. He's got himself a fresh mag now.
Worry about the inside of the letters later.
And coverage from Single.
Well, that's a special moment from Soulfly. He should have just won the round.
Nasty
It's drying.
sequence on the ramp hold. Xanterra's here to make
That one has
sure
my
he's not
fingerprints
in
on
pain.
it.
Ice cold triple kill as what looked like an
This
electric
is-
tempo out of FaZe Clan was meant to catch him off guard. but
uncomfortable.
he drew that line in the sand.
This thing about Soulfly, he's got the brains and
I mean,
the
with
balls.
paint, at least we can be more
In
precise.
the world.
I like
Kerrigan's
that.
turned the other way.
Never seen that
Xanterra's
happen
gets
before.
4-3.
Oh, and then he runs, and he still gets to. that had it all.
For better or for worse.
That had it all right there. It feels like the right guy got the kill. Kerrigan was staring at Mini
Yeah.
into concrete.
Well, this very limited pack of FaZe Clan players, all that remains on this T side. 6-round T side, excellent outing, considering you didn't even win the pistol. And Woxic's gonna make sure that stays at 6. Tied half out of Aurora as they recover in the tail end of this CT side. Nobody can quite compete individually here for FaZe in that regard.
This is
and yet
uncomfy.
still, as we go into the second pistol, tied.
What are we doing
6-6.
this year?
Yeah, so star players.
Summer
over
is
Aurora,
coming.
but FaZe
I
have
think
a
that
really
means
good team,
Austin and
so
Dallas
it's an
are soon.
interesting Belt right now. I mean, I think Maui said
IEM
this
is
would be a
gonna do
miracle, and they did that without a pistol.
Dallas and if we even qualify for it.
Okay,
Right, they
Soulfly.
can do that too, eh?
Instant headshot.
Blast is
Woxic holds
Austin, I
the
think.
with the double kill on his
I
own.
won't be in Texas this year for it. I'll be
Flag as well. It is
homing with the zoo and Franchin with the zoo, but
pistol is done.
Couldn't have been better than that, really.
excited for some good old North American CS.
Yeah, Santeras 14-4, Woxic 14-6.
Even if it needs to be in
Heavy hitters,
Nasty.
Texas.
but they aren't ready for this ninja defuse.
The old Kerrigan.
Like watching them all do synchronized sidestep jitter dances, waiting for the
One of
smoke
those
to clear.
fallen DOVs.
The old 10-second no smoke.
You got an ADHD around to stay safe.
Not today, my friends. Not today. Another pistol
I
round
saw
goes
someone in traffic today. I don't even know what happened with my stream today, going with Tigra. my phone overheated. Apparently, it kept streaming while it was overheated. I don't know. I'm just gonna end up scrubbing the VOD into a short little vlog of whatever's not blacked out.
Yeah.
This isn't the phase that's supposed to
But I was driving behind someone that has the same road rage mentality as me. And when I'm really, really irritated at a driver, like to the point that I can just be an idiot and not even swear anymore, it's just like I do this like stupid little dance like this where I'm just like do 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 do, and no, it's not cute, and no, it doesn't make sense, and no, I don't know why I do it. But the person in the car in front of me did it, and I was like, hey, real recognizes real. Because we were on a 50-mile-per-hour road going 30. Because one person behind, like, in front of the 5 of us needed to go 30. Not with hazards on, just to go 30.
Not the prettiest nades, but you still got good vision.
It was
into hot
so
areas.
fun.
I was gonna say the presence of mind to hold that heaven ladder. Things get sketchy for a second.
I don't think it's cute at all. I think it looks stupid. And seeing it from a secondhand perspective of how other drivers see it behind me now was interesting. But it was a very real, recognizes real moment. Like, yes, do 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 do. It helped make the traffic a little more tolerable, which I appreciate.
Now Aurora gonna put the slow roll on round 16 down to 40 seconds. Jacob playing the 8th floor as we get this climb from Aurora that is most certainly gonna compromise.
I mean, it scratches easily, but if I clear coat it,
Frozen's gonna have to
be
hit
fine,
this,
right?
and he drops the duel.
Now that off is in a very scary spot.
77 health for Xanterez. Broki's gonna hit the one towards main at least, but utility pressure from all directions. And he's
I just don't want to have to try and sand off a clear coat. Well, I guess it wouldn't matter if it's the same paint colors.
Yeah, there is time trouble now.
Badger trying to cross with the bomb.
Oh, no
It
kill.
dropped, and so that's got to be recovered. There is still time.
We'll try it.
He catches the vent play. He knows his player's inside of the hut, but there's nothing he can do about it. So forced error here to try to chase down the first player, and instead FaZe.
I have faith in the process.
Yeah, they needed to join up. That's a nice kill from Squeaky. Just a head-to-head duel, 50-50 could have gone either way.
And if it doesn't pan out, then I learned. I pulled out way more white than red, though. Definitely a second coat of the white. So the blue does scratch through quite easily. I think a clear coat would make it okay, though. It's going to look a little bit distressed. Like painting on smooth. Over textured. I don't even know how to make that make sense. But something is telling me this is the way. Either it's my advanced knowledge of cosplay props, or it's my laziness. Something is telling me this is the way. Long for 30 miles per hour on a 50 mile per hour road. Spend some time in LA and you'll think you're cruising at 30. See, I need to like check myself because I don't have it that bad. I complain about traffic, but there's so many cities that are more trafficy. It could be so much worse. But God, I just do not have patience in traffic. I don't have patience for stupid. I don't have patience for slow. Unless the slow is justified, like put me behind a biker, I have no problem hanging back and going whatever speed I need to. Safety first, but some stupid dumbass going 30 because you don't know the difference between the fucking whatever gear you're in, please. Just go. You shouldn't even be on the road. You should have stayed home today. There's so many people out today. It was so warm. It's in the 70s. Which is like unheard of. It'll be a little cooler the rest of the week, but it was so nice to walk the dogs today. In like warmth without 2 jackets. Use up the rest of the red that I have. What was I going to do the bottom part? More red? It's going to be black. It doesn't matter if it's touching it. You paint it over anyway.
Here's another moment where Jacob's going to post a multi-frag. Goes from 11
Merp.
to 14.
That's huge. And doing with a low gun as well, right? I mean,
One
to
player
fill in the
crosses
letters.
over, a couple more sit behind red. Remember, bomb's been dropped by Silo
Do
for
a
moment.
little bit more of this. Probably one side at a time.
Spammed, maybe?
Tech 9
Back.
gets a bit of chip
Just so I
damage.
can lean
Broky's
it
gonna
over.
hunt you down from inside garage. And that's going to put Woxic on the hunt to try to counterpick, but you've missed the timing. Brokey already huge reposition here towards ramp.
No, it's hard to tell from the highlights, but there was like no heart and soul
Spot. I mean, they're not gonna have
in this
outside
game.
smoke. They need to go back and get this. Right now, FaZe aren't going to try to fight them here.
And they're still clearly worried about Brokey being somewhere outside.
Plain passive. Welcome, Angel.
In that regard, FaZe Clan already a
Welcome.
step ahead. Auber's gone for a massive reposition, unnoticed. Jacob's going to pick up his duel through the squeaky door, and we've got the 5v3 looking comfortable for FaZe.
Nice confident positions here, play by FaZe Clan.
Attack comes through main, it's Twists at bat. Good headshot here
I think
for
this was the
Zantares.
one we won.
So the X factor is still
Or 1 and
alive on
2
the
for
Aurora
each
side
that
of
we got
things.
into.
Trying to displace another defender, but Jacob plays in the open ground. And as he does, he will line up another. It is Soulfly down for the count, bomb drop, and Zantares on for the clutch attempt. 20 seconds to the clock, 16 health to the board, and a slow burn
From Argentina?
from Brokey
Hello,
that comes
Argentina.
all the way from Garage from his first kill,
Is it
outthrowing
morning or
the
nighttime by you?
squeaky side.
Or I guess daytime or nighttime.
But FaZe individually, they're playing all these interesting spots. Top up on break.
Don't wanna get paint on the orange.
Outside.
I guess red would be fine.
Understandable that Aurora get caught off by
Like
some of
blood
this.
splatters.
All the walk peaks.
Still.
Brokey clips off Woxic. Frozen ready for a feast. We'll mow down all of the ramp players on the approach. Nobody allowed to step beyond the threshold.
That's huge.
Some big lean back though outside.
Argentina is the best country. Why is that?
New position from Frozen. Oh, he's gonna have to come up big, and he will. Double kill straight down beneath him.
Not knocking
That
it,
was
just
a
curious.
very quick man advantage for Aurora, ripped from their hands.
I was looking at the 4K versus Ecos. I was like, okay, Frozen, get your score back. You know, get back into the match.
Is there a dog and
But
cat
it
in
is
every
2 kills.
household? In which
A
case,
scoring
I'm on
transfer
board.
With the ramp hold that sends Aurora into a spiral. They don't know what to do right now.
It's another weird one-off position. It's another approach that costs Aurora bodies. Bomb dropped in front of Brokey as well.
Brokey has support from the back of the site. Jacob's watching this. Beautiful stuff.
Finds the timing for the headshot.
FaZe are in the lead.
Can you believe it? On a 5-round streak now, our FaZe Clan. This CT side's been rock solid.
It's so precarious.
Was just enough time for FaZe to find some footing. Zantares exposed, but still able to best Kerrigan. But a man disadvantage hasn't deterred FaZe Clan in the past. And so they will take this challenge into the trophy room where Soulfly sits and waits. Brokey finds his first. Soulfly thinking to get into the engagement, instead gets smoked off. Here's the challenge out through Hut. That was 2 bodies spotted. Jacob dealt with Twists. It's about time you come alive. And
That
as
was
he
an
hangs
attempt.
on to the lobby control, Frozen tries to get
My
upstairs, but
Instagram is on my social.
Right away. I don't know.
either a missed
I love talking with a brush in my mouth.
It sounded like flames. Zantares off the ladder, collects the headshot. You've got low
It's
health
on my
from 2 of the 3
socials.
remaining Aurora players. Brokey eats the team flash. Twists just gets popped instantly, and Aurora in the first of these final 2 tests steps up, catches the Hut push, and takes control of A site.
That started off wrong for Aurora, but just like FaZe have done to them, they super solid
Pardon.
round out of Aurora, but they're playing
Pardon.
from behind now. This is just to get to overtime. They'll have to win the next round as well, and it's one where FaZe still have lots of money. Look what they've done for themselves with their streak.
It's not about the money, money, money.
Like this
Both
game should
pistols,
be
16
Aurora's.
opening kills, three superstar top-ranking performances.
I thought about that song in so long.
Not sure what else.
And you're still playing for OT.
Crazy.
FaZe Clan hanging on for dear life, but doing it in some oddly impressing way.
That's what they do. Is
It's a weird map.
Miracles.
Right?
That's what-
Yes, that's what they
Again,
do.
it's just the highlights,
It's what
but
we felt
it feels
we
like a
were
weird
losing.
map.
And yet, far and few between.
So I don't know how how he's gonna take this if he wants to go up. But he will maybe find a moment to catch Kerrigan. Yes, no way, because Kerrigan has a ramp slayer.
Kerrigan stops. Now Xanterra's knows he's inside. Xanterra's perfect slip of the net. Oh, it's perfection. Just a second ahead of Kerrigan. Jacob, you could still be the hero, but instead it's a one and done. There's the flank from Frozen. Double up inside of the hut. Twist collects his. Soulfly's 12 health stands between FaZe and their map pick victory, and he will kick this off. 20 seconds left. He's trying to get this reposition off. Damage is down, and this one is done. Twist with a round to be proud of at the very end. All the odds stacked up against FaZe Clan, but they will strike first in their opening series.
The very last minute yoink.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, even if you don't believe on Inferno, it's just that they have a map to play with and they could win Inferno. You know, it would be a crazy thing, but it is, of course, possible.
Roki sees that utility go over top. That's Jacob's sign to go for the fight. A little bit labored, but he'll get his one at least. And Twist's clean with the USP. Slows down that bomb play. Gets another duel as a teammate stood next to him. Frozen's meant to be trading these. Now he's under pressure. Burst clock from Woxic.
He's still bursting.
Ay, ay, ay.
Awkward.
Wakadia gets the kill back. Kerrigan's now starting to retake already. The bomb can exit CT spawn to B.
Kerrigan's trying to beat him there.
Well, well, well.
It's a little bit awkward, actually.
Well, well, well.
Communicate this now.
It's
Woxic, he can't
kind of
actually
creepy
speak up.
sounding.
More than a little bit. Very awkward
Oh
situation.
my
Go
goodness.
back, though. Brokey has not made the rotation just yet, and Woxic's gonna start running.
And as he stomps, he's going to run straight into Brokey, who's just tucked outside of the doorway. Woxic jumps. Brokey's got the bomb drop down at his feet.
And now
Now
Kerrigan
Arcadia's
keeps up.
10 health. 10 health. And 15 seconds to make this
Welcome,
happen.
Loe.
Sloppiest pistol round we've seen in some time. And yet still Arcadia could pull off this clutch. Just enough
I
time,
think you
just
can
enough
do
health.
English just fine. You just typed in it. If not, Google Translate is clearly a good friend.
As FaZe Clan take their first pistol victory of the series.
Again, it's the mid to late and still come out with a headshot.
Had like 3 players staring at him at one point, but few sloppy moments. Aggression here for FaZe. Jacob's trade, jump up by the MAC-10. Xanterra's on
At some point I got yellow paint on the side of here.
sticks around a second.
Maybe that's glow in the dark paint.
Half of Woxic's health. Become flying into round 2.
Just yellow sploot.
As Aurora had a man advantage momentarily, Frozen's got 3 players gunning towards him now, and he is on the retreat. Fire in front of him, rotation comes over, and it feels like for a second we can catch our breath, but Aurora are still going to try to test the
Actually has a
waters
really
inside
nice
of
texture
B-side.
under the
You've got
red.
rotator dead. Frozen sitting in the
I
back
wonder
of
if
the
that
side.
would have changed if I would have
Bully
sanded
versus
it.
Tech
Probably
9.
not dramatically, but a little bit. Probably not enough to matter, but I'm justifying my actions.
Yeah, he doesn't go to blow that smoke open and fight. Comes to the rotation, lets him know that he's coming in from Con. Draws a little bit of aggro, maybe away from Twist, but it's being watched either way.
Got no kit for this defuse. Jacob's gonna need a reload as well. Twists separate duels at the moment. Bomb isn't too far gone, but pressure starts to sink in for Twists. And Jacob reels away. There is a kit actually to be picked up by this CT rotate, but he missed it. As he doubles back for it, he picks it up. Not even. Jacob's still yet to grab that kit off the ground. They'll just make sure that the cost is high here for Aurora, but a round 2 force by win.
I feel like I'm having the internet version of someone plugging their ears and saying, I can't hear you, but still responding to what you're saying.
That FaZe Clan have not picked this year, Inferno. They've been trying to find a
They're a team of the people.
Yeah, right.
Just goes to show, never too late in life to experience something new.
Twists, fine by me. Triple kill on short side. Balcony player can't emerge. And Twist out of nowhere with the triple kill. Madger's answer back in the form of a single frag. MAC-10 goes down dusted with nothing. And that is Twists. There's a lot of
Twists.
There's T's, S's, and Z's
Oh
in
yeah.
there.
You know what?
Those
I'm so
Zeds.
sick of hearing nice shots.
Shots, they win frags, but, you know, communication wins rounds.
No, I like that. Let's brainstorm. I'd like to hear more nice composure.
Yeah. Nice air.
Nice sight.
Start to get inside of the letters.
Start to one for sure.
Okay, reposition. Spam comes out from Frozen. Peels one off the
He
play.
does stop this right. That
Aye,
carries.
aye.
Oh, we got smoke out.
just enough. Smoke saves the day. Any chance of a hold of this bomb site feels slim.
I'm excited to nerf
You've got
people.
this AK in hand. Santeras and Soulfly with the Tech 9 headshot. Oh, and locks it.
Pretty confident at conventions after all this time, and that's kind of like my home turf. I really enjoy it.
Collect their second round.
Man, while the gun was hot,
But I still get,
the
like,
second kill,
fidgety.
aiming right in the middle
I'm
of the
just
body,
naturally
perfect for the
anxious.
recoil.
I like having something to fidget with. Now that Pippi's older, she just sleeps the whole time, which is fine. You can still pick her up and snuggle her. But now I have something else to fidget with. Only if I see you at Chicago Exotica Chaos Supervisor.
That's a soul.
So we're painting at 4.
And a dink on Proki will die, right?
Yeah, chase him down. Wacadia doesn't let him reposition. Low health here for Xanterra's active move out of Jacob.
Fact check.
Good timing for the hall swap. I mean, a lot of
You do
times
not
they
follow
fall
me
for
at all,
this.
my friend.
They're the right thing.
Kadia's still watching.
Not at all, my friend. Not in the slightest.
Tiny saw the other two. And Jacob's gonna just peel that gun away from the mid-play and
Guys
hide
make me
inside
laugh.
the bomb site. That is a bit of defense secured in 50 seconds for Aurora to still try to figure this one out. Double up inside of the site instead. Frozen not too concerned about this arch wrap, but with this much time, you've got to be worried about everything.
Yeah, now they are playing spots where they can eventually just hold both lane and arch together.
Brush is getting
And they are
dry.
watching it. Yeah, but man, he's not gonna expect the
That's
second
hilarious
flare.
timing.
Position here from Frozen, ready for
My
the
brush is getting dry. Must hydrate it too. Thank you.
halfway through the 1v2.
You say it sounds dirty. I didn't mean to
Walking
make
up
it
on
sound
this, that's a
dirty.
really fresh smoke,
I
though.
suppose it can be taken that way.
Easy chance for Xanterras to reposition. Onto the graveyard stairs he'll go.
Okay.
Limited.
Yeah, it's the one way you can play it now.
It's better.
And Twist, would he ever expect
Cheers.
someone to even bother with it?
Twist looking at the backside instead. Slow on the approach.
Jumping out. Oh, man, he's gonna make noise.
Doesn't have a kit either. Starts stomping. Oh, he missed it! The Xanterras whiff!
No!
And a 10-second defuse to boot. Twist has started to find his mark in this series because as everybody else on that
What do you
team
do?
within
What
you
did you
was
do?
able to come online, Twist still struggled. Not here on Inferno.
They're going for
Everything
the
and nothing
the whole
all at
attention of
once.
the three guys here. Probably not gonna get some. Oh, you are gonna get an over rotation actually. They're falling for it entirely. Rose is going into a retake spot. They've had great success when they get the B site open.
Nade's too late. Awkward one for Frozen. And Kerrigan
Nice.
just gets blindsided by the perfectly timed Wacadia challenge. Wacadia's
It's
gonna
gonna
play
be red.
Frozen back turn. Okay, just put a bow on
Cheers,
this one.
cheers,
Shout out to
cheers.
Andrew for that call.
Cheers
I
to the
didn't
good life.
expect them to fight that hard on the fake, especially not actually seeing anybody over towards A. But they didn't have brackets.
It's not a
And,
movable piece, no.
Yeah, I guess they felt a bit more insecure. Also, no, I mean, it's B that's been the bigger issue for them overall.
I don't know if I have enough paint to continue that way. I want to see how the white will hold
That's
up.
solid. I mean, that kind of
Double coated
dilutes the salt
and
a bit
more
from that
so.
last one we
Okay,
went.
Yep.
Before it dries
Right
out.
back at it. It's been 6 rounds
feel like
now,
dries
back
so
and forth.
fast.
Round wins, non-consecutive outcomes.
Oh, still no consecutive.
Still no
So
consecutive.
fast.
Let's keep that up forever.
Well,
That's kind of the right looking stack, though. You got double arch, so you got fast rotations, you have 3 and B. You have
I mean,
four, start with
anything can
feedback
be
in that
understood
direction.
with Google Translate.
They've been super good on the entries and not the best guns here, but
Often, I don't know what I'm saying, but I admire it also, so that makes 2 of us.
walk up might be the right call. Comes down to Frozen, really.
It's mutual.
awkward, tough play. Kerrigan remains tucked in. Those flashbangs, though. Not the prettiest moment here for Aurora. And Kerrigan gonna get burned out into the open. Nothing his teammates can really do about it as the boost gets protected. spam back the other
Not very
direction, but it feels like
heavy-hitting.
more of a chance to exit than it does a way to
There was the
win.
soul in this game.
You can't let these great Inferno teams just kind of have an option to full exec B or like walk up all the way like that with 5. There's just no recourse really for the CTs. We saw the nades that followed
Let's
Caturday
try
quad.
the rest
You
of
kinda
the
can just
white.
cover everything from
Doubly
far
and
once you get there.
singularly.
So it was a risk to run. Obviously, FaZe had the advent of rotations and the ability to stack a little bit, but you
Don't
see
want to make
even
it pink
with
though.
that,
That's not the point.
Adam B, I was thinking that. So again, it's sort of this game like, well, okay, FaZe are sure that if you let them have B, they're going to try to go
There's
for
the
it.
little guy up
You're
too.
running again. A little scout's a good idea for Madger.
They'll try to overstack it. 3 additional players in position. Jacob using this as a chance to try to carve a path to victory from the push off A.
It's been
And
quite
just
weary.
relaxing.
You know, with
It's
KD
nice to
making
see
his
him
move.
relax.
Okay. Not quite ready for the peak, but Woxic's got the coverage, and that A bomb site
Really
soon
hope
to
he can be
found in the
socialized.
vacant. As Xantares
I think there's
continues to
potential
confirm
there,
bodies
but
towards B.
regardless,
Focus on
it's
the
nice
right
to
side
just
for
see him
Aurora. I
relax.
think they'll be happy to find footing on site.
Yeah, I mean, they can actually run down. Obviously, bomb's getting planted now. There's no kit to work with. So, just not
It's
fortunate.
oddly specific. It looks like an RCP 90 from the game Perfect Dark on Nintendo 64. It's a Commander Nerf gun. Elite 2.0. Maybe that's what they modeled it after. How old am I? Does it even matter if we can't understand?
Oh, and you pay the price.
If you don't need AIDS.
Yeah, exactly.
Just say words,
This
just to say
racks up the
words.
frags off the AK. Him and Twist kind of tucked in front of the smoke grenade. So good on them to fight, I think, for the top of B, because you've slowly seen this Aurora take over of the B bomb site. You've alluded
Guess I
to
did
it.
do
Given
the back of
space,
this all the
they'll
way around.
happily
I'm just
barrel
gonna do
through.
half for
Death
second
kinda
coat.
painted the same picture. Well, this time you have to fight for Banana, and it costs
I remember you
two.
saying your birthday is on
You know, you
Monday,
got that
Chaos
weak ship and
Supervisor.
you just keep taking
That's
it above
exciting.
the water route if you keep stacking, but it doesn't really solve the problem.
That's not
So,
old. You're not old
let's
until,
change
like,
the pace here.
Someone's been
you
playing
need a
Sea of
walker.
Thieves.
And then you're old.
This
But
boat
then,
floats.
upside, I think you're the cutest thing that ever existed once you're that old. I love old men.
He takes one down without damage back the other way. Twist is low as
Cute
well,
little
tucked in,
grandpas are
and
my
we've had a
favorite
lot of
people.
bodies tucked into these positions, but he goes unchecked. And so Soulfly's having to turn back around to deal with that one. Good kill into the church as well. A multi-frag moment here for Soulfly, 2v2, and a bomb plant exposed to Brokey. Made easy.
That could have been planted default with the smoke up, but they were worried about everything, I
no.
guess. Soulfly on 10 HP has 3 kills.
Comes through with the instant headshot. 5 bullets left in the magazine.
PB just did something.
I might believe a little bit more. He's been a little bit too sharp, but Soulfly's not sure of where he is. And with the time remaining, man, Jacob's gonna peel back even.
And a fake plant confirms nothing.
Another fake plant, and Jacob's too far to run at this, so Soulfly's gonna be so confused. Wow, patience pays off here for Jacob. He made him think a little bit too much.
A little smirk out of Jacob as well. Plays that one cool as need be.
It's every round has been a Orange's player. Oops. Guess we'll call it an oops.
So 3 rounds in a row, all Aurora are allowed, and fast move out through the apartments. This is a beautiful change of pace called by Madger, but will it work with limited guns? AK still on the field. Madger's got himself a second, and that A site crumbled in an instant.
Yeah, that's actually another oops here for FaZe. They run away from this too happily. I don't even know why they got pulled so hard.
You're springy.
Looks like they're still going to need the retake. But, I mean, versus 4?
Sounded like she had pulled off the air vent cover, which
We
is
said we wouldn't see him
not
there for
really
a while,
possible,
he's
but
trying to cover up his misdeeds.
I wanted to make sure. I think she just ran her claws across it. Being a little child. Started playing video games like Pong, and you started on Atari. That's so neat. The first game station we had in my house was a PS1. I had a babysitter when I was very little that would bring the Nintendo 64 over, but I was too little to like understand it. I'm a 93 baby. It's so neat. My dad's ex-girlfriend, his current partner at the time, had bought him a PS1 for Christmas, and I had so much fun on it. He played games on it too, but he's more like a PC gamer guy.
You know, oftentimes we see teams are so prepared for stacks and everything in these pistols, but Acadia, I don't know if he wants all this smoke.
Had every game station. Which one is your favorite?
Good push. Gets him into cover.
Like you can only save one. Which one would that be?
For another duel on his terms.
They're wrapping it back around through halls.
I'm understanding Gunther's breathing woes now. Goodness.
The retake's on. Triple short retake coming through from Aurora. Madger's gonna buy time over towards Library. Quick hop from Soulfly into the side.
Is it very human?
And it's Santera.
I should know, but when I take the dogs out, I'm not awake yet.
And we've got FaZe Clan with both pistols now so far on Inferno.
Yeah, this game actually becomes real, and would be even more impressive than their win on Nuke, which is already
Air quality is moderate.
one of the best teams to just have MP9 rounds. I'll tell you that much.
65% humidity.
Especially this well-positioned triple arch setup.
I love my PS4. Could play every Need for Speed on it. That's awesome.
Brokey thought about it for a second, but a second too late.
Wasn't PS4 the first one that wasn't backwards compatible? Did you hack it into that?
And we've got a 2 versus 2.
Kerrigan can just plan.
I remember being bummed when I upgraded to the PS4 that you couldn't have any of the older games on it. Because on the PS3 you could still play PS1 games.
Arch setup pays off.
Ooh, I feel like Kerrigan, he's got a teammate coming up lane.
Crazy.
Yeah, runs into the site, but
I don't have a lot of knowledge of racing games, but I do enjoy the ones that I've played.
I just love that it wasn't like
Ridge Racer on the PS1 was my favorite.
I need every nade.
It has some compatibility. I'll have to read more into that. I'm curious.
They did win that round for the record.
When we stream console games, it's either on the first Switch or
Tempo is straight out of
the
spawn.
PS1 or the PS4, but we haven't whipped out the PS1 in a while. We also haven't streamed in my bedroom in a while.
Peeks out through the apartments. Let's call round 17.
Actually, probably not since
That, my friends, is FaZe Clan 7.
you don't often see
Diesel was new in the zoo.
that.
I think that was the last time we did bedroom streams. I could be wrong.
It's quick. It's obviously
I have a
got
terrible
all the
memory.
smokes in place, right where they need them, and it's exactly what
Alright,
Aurora had
here's
marked.
the scary part. If we can hold this steady, we'll try this side first and then see how it changes as it slides over it.
As well, that they hit the A site with
Giggity.
Aurora a bit on guard.
The double fake, man. This is next level here for FaZe. They don't even
Need
they don't
more
even do
careful
stuff like
hands.
this that much.
Maybe it's time. Quick swing out through the apartments. Woxic's got the cover needed. That's Jacob and Twists down for the count. Mid-player drop with nothing.
I love how this didn't work at all.
But it looked beautiful. In terms of the setup, everything was there.
Didn't work at all, but looked beautiful.
It's the kills that count. and
That's
Aurora
gonna be my new
And
bio.
The fact that they didn't move it. Ooh, Froze is actually in a dangerous spot. He could die after time. And
Game developers had to trick PS1 and PS2 games. They tricked the CPU into being able to play Crash Bandicoot. No shit.
So this round,
That's pretty
FaZe,
wild.
What do you want to do? Because 12 is looming. You've got guns now. Santerra's taking a peek, not seeing anything.
Risky. Oh, but they're so timid.
What?
Nobody fully commits to kind of punishing his presence, and so he still gets away with 2.
I can't believe he got any.
The gun is turning out pretty amazing. I'll take that.
Santerra's switching over to the
Makes me
off for the
happy.
triple kill. There's still something to fight for
My
here
vision
this
is
round.
being
FaZe Clan
envisioned.
trying to keep Aurora off their 12.
Although there's
Managed to kick the
awkward
door
little
off its
divots.
hinges towards the B site.
It's a lot more detailed Nerf guns than I ever gave them credit for. That was the inside.
How do they work together? These two players have experience in these spots, and honestly, they have some advantages. The bomb's getting really low already.
Really takes running a paintbrush over something to see every little intricacy, I suppose.
Strong trade out of Madger. And so Brokey 3/4 the HP. And they try to cover off that bomb with util. All they need. Soulfly's got the headshot. Aurora have the 12th round
It's
secure.
okay.
with
It's very
5
exotic.
map
I not
points to play.
C2E2. No one's gonna judge me on my prop making. Crash Bandicoot was ahead of its time, so they wrote code to tell the CPU in PS1 and PS2 to say it was running weaker than it was. Was there any negative consequence to that? Like, did it run hotter? I never played Crash. I had it on like a tiny little demo disc, and it was fun, but you could only get like so far with it.
It was just the Deagle that had a chance to shoot at him, right? The one limited weapon that FaZe Clan are still playing with is the one guy that has a chance. They've managed to walk
I mean,
by.
it won't matter, right? That they're not getting they're going for this arch ram. Woxic doesn't know about it just yet. But are they going to turn into a B split? Uh-oh, that's actually the mistake.
He ran great.
And
No
Carrigan
shit.
will get the
That's
Quill
cool.
and haul it off as well.
It's nice that they diagnosed that like pre-release.
He's gonna be bested by Wicadia, but look at this running through CT spawn already.
But they're on the other side of the molly.
Right, now they're stuck behind it. They're gonna try to double back. Wicadia to the site. 15 seconds on the clock.
Only so much can be perfect here.
Bro, huge gap on that one. Wicadia dodging flashes. The bomb still gets over. Just barely. Gonna be planted. Knife out by Madger as he takes to the top rope. Catches you trying to reposition. Good trade back by Jacob at least.
I mean, we honestly didn't play terrible, just
And in a moment, Wicadia
strangely.
no longer covered by that smoke as Twist skates into the coverage of Orange. Utility back sight, that's going to take Jacob down to half health. Twist activates. Woxic dodges it. Oh, but now he's still got the health advantage. He will close out the first of 5 rounds needed to force OT.
And after that small misstep in Boiler, Jacob comes back with a 4K and puts up another round. Man, the use of fakes from FaZe is not what I expected to see today, and that car molly was all just a distraction because it made it look like there was going to be a wrap towards 8. Now, the funny part about that, wrap towards 8 would have been great. Sure, it was just Woxic alone there, but it still did its
trust
job.
the process.
At this point in the map, round win's a round win. Oh,
Uh-oh, he's dead.
done. Nade with his name on it.
Or, with Aurora dropping guard over here in B, will there be a timing to get in between this smoke? We'll see how far it goes down. Wikadia's running headfirst into this. Now he has to drop that defensively.
Here's the stomping. They are going to just try to barrel on through.
That's
and
a great trade. They have
one
the
and
right
done.
idea.
Not too bad. FaZe
So
will take it.
close.
Making the most of what they can. Kerrigan takes damage in the spam fight. We've got this fast move by Madger on the banana duel. It's
They didn't
versus
diagnose
Kerrigan
it.
in a 1v1
They knew
battle.
releasing it would rock on PS1 and PS2, so they wrote the code to make it
Exactly
run.
what Zantares was banking on. 4 versus 2
They already
advantage
knew the
for the
problem.
Aurora retake. Jacob tries to go
It's funny.
back at the duel. It's a one and done from him, and Twist
I'm not paying a lick of attention to the game, but part of the commentary sounds like me during one of my quiet games. You're borderline useless for several rounds. Crunch time comes, suddenly I'm a hero. I feel like a lot of people, like, as a general trait, do play well under pressure. I used to see that with FaZe a lot, and it was nice. If we got forced into overtime, it's like a guaranteed win. But playing wonky lately,
Zantares opens up with ease.
which is okay.
Jacob
Nobody's nerfect,
in that round.
but
This little mystery 8-ball. Did it
I'd like to
say
see some
Clay
other good
Thomas?
games.
Might have said stack B for the rest of his team.
Sit inside of it. 3 players strong as mid-control.
I don't
gets
think we
taken over
ended
by
up
Aurora.
qualifying
There's
for
no
Rotterdam
contest
because we
for
lost the first
a
two.
bomb site.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
A walk. Interesting, good timing here for Kerrigan.
There's nothing
It's not
more on the
something
schedule,
wrong.
which leads me to believe we got the boot.
But the mid B smoke is just going to hold the CTs there a little longer. It's a very nice play here for Aurora.
Just the right utility to still sprinkle into the play. Kerrigan gets hit by the second
We
flashbang.
can move that
Soulfly
when it's dry.
capitalizes on that awkwardness caused by Madger's util.
That's where you know it's
Beautifully set up.
Yeah, it's just enough. Sometimes
Classy.
you see like a disproportionate response, a little fake, and then
It's a
you
group effort.
try to throw 10 nades. And
Very,
wait for
very
it to
group
spread out, and
effort.
It doesn't match the energy of the other team, but that was perfect. Like,
It's
at
funny
least
because
you
I say
focus
that
on
so
what they need.
instinctually, and
Even
then I
slow
correct
down the
myself in my
rotation
head
and
of
see
like
things
them,
over
that I
towards
don't
A.
correct myself verbally.
So FaZe, I mean, on
Only
Inferno,
internally.
Both pistols got eco twice.
Correct.
Aurora won both pistols on nuke and then won both conversions. They're the guys who are much better on round 2.
When I'm painting walls, I love cutting corners. Like cutting in corners.
Real guns in hand now for phases.
And I
Round 4
end
where
up
things turn around. Just feels sort of bleak with only 2 kills across the board for
overestimating
phases
my
the first 3
ability
rounds
to
of
be
this map.
incredibly precise when painting smaller things
Once more for Aurora,
with a
approaching the
smaller
catwalk
brush.
play. Cadius Mac 10's got the trade back. Good challenge through that open smoke, but the offer still
It's tricky.
surpasses
You're a
Frozen.
sim racer and
And
you
with
love your
it,
Gran
Wacadian has
Turismo.
gotten additional space created
Racing
already,
games are
so
really
on the
cool.
arrival of
I'm
his
not very
teammates,
well
they're good
versed
to
in
go.
them, but I do
Just go
enjoy
ahead,
watching
put that
them.
utility down into the CT spawn, couple it with a
Painting
nice
walls?
walkout by
What did I
Thatcher,
leave
and
myself
this
wide
is
open for
feeling
with
like
that?
a 4-0 guarantee.
Yeah, they're moving a little bit too nice. I mean, after the first map, again, it's like, it's sort of embarrassing for Aurora to say, we lost this game when we had all these great stats.
How
near
can
the end
that
of
be
it, but it also
misconstrued
points
for
to
anything
that
other than
in the
home
future,
improvement?
like, if we don't make any of those, half of those mistakes, we're going to pretty much crush you.
Yeah.
And we saw a bit
I
more of that
have
in
the
Inferno.
confusion.
Didn't expect them to take off in the same way on Dust 2. I thought
Talk
Dust
to me
2
when
had
you're
a
100,
equalizer
Loey.
opportunity here.
Not to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not enough.
I'm off the market until I have a
This
walker.
steamroll from Aurora
I don't want a ring, I want a walker.
just continues to grow with momentum. We get this walkout from Madger again, willingness to test the waters in middle. You'll get blindsided by the first of 3, but that's a big commitment. 3-player strong
Precision
on that
efforts.
mid-smoke. And the timing as Brokey peels away from long. We do get this CT player walk up trying to duel with the guys on Cat, and that's just enough of a distraction for Brokey to clip one off the play. Flashbang comes at him, but the frags are fantastic. And where has this phase been?
I don't know. All their kills right here.
Boy. It's like the 5th bad Molotov we've seen in this series.
Yeah.
We didn't
All
play
from
great,
phase,
but
though, so.
there we go. They're not playing terrible. Except for that one just like
Frozen's position
thumbs up
correctly.
their ass
Ball
moment
offered here
in the
by
first
grenades.
map.
Luckily for him, Twist is gone.
That was cute.
Dropped opportunity
Eye
by
twitch.
Frozen, and Twist here to shine. Triple kill already. Utility to
It's
soften up the
progress,
last one. And Watson
not
just stuck
perfection.
there, fully
This
flat.
holds on really nice though. I like how that is. It's not perfect, but it's kind of exactly how I wanted it to look, like naturally distressed. Not just Serena style distressed.
Quite yet, and yeah, Brokey's got that one locked in. Nice triple kill here from Twist. We get the back-to-back.
I think a clear coat over that will look nice.
Yeah, look at Twist, like not even going for that extra kill right there, just doing his job.
Poor Jacob, still 0 kills, but
Theorize.
blasted away in the last round. Still 4v5 win out of phase. Like we said, 3 maps in this series. That impressive out of Jacob. Odds are against him. We'll see if he can recover.
Still have some white paint. I don't want to waste it. I'm just gonna keep going with it.
Not wasting the
I know I said I only wanted to do one side, but maybe I can do the other side and then this side will be dry.
Out of the gate here in round 8, locks down long and thrusts Aurora.
Cheers!
Plenty of time still for Aurora to rob this one back.
Coffee is cold
And
but
walking
good.
through those mid-doors flashbangs come through. Kerrigan actually eating a flash in the middle of all that.
Thank you.
Felt like he was about to pounce on it just to confirm the numbers, but we'll see if his timing works out.
If they move slowly enough, he will have a chance. They can't just watch everything.
They do hold him back. Jacob kills Zanteras next to Madger, who's now going to try to pounce off of that Woxic flashbang, but Frozen's got it. Hook, line, and sinker stuck through the doorway.
Twist
Totally
is so
different
blonde
game
right now. I aspire for that level of blonde. We'll be there one day.
Slow to get off the pitch, but
My hair is growing really fast right now. My roots are extremely prominent. Need to figure out if I'm gonna let them grow out and have wonky hair for conventions. I'll be wearing wigs for most of my cosplays anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Or do I want to try a bleach round before then? I don't know.
Believe in
Don't
yourself.
know. Master Chief. Thank you. It is an absolutely useless redemption that is always guaranteed to make me smile because it's an inside joke with my nephew.
Volley's not gonna help. But it's gonna shove him back at least. I was thinking there was a
Thank
chance
you
for a
very
kill,
much.
which they might need.
Kadia just kind of teases the corner. If he peeks into that, Opper's got him surely. Yeah, Brokey just patient on the line. Oh, the USP headshot goes Brokey. A triple kill.
Not
in
annoying,
this
my
one.
friend. You just
As
trolling.
again, he has been happy to take these early
just
fights.
trolling.
No matter where, no matter when.
In the opening duel, and oh my goodness, Woxic, that is just exquisite. It's another timing shot on Jacob to put him at
It's okay. I don't think either of us will lose sleep over it.
Headshot.
We'll survive.
Like again, he's not just relying on his reaction time. That's just perfect
What's messed
planning.
up too is last time Jacob jumped and died, this time he stayed on the ground. And Woxic's still ready for the shot.
You're actually very
You try to
funny.
change up your pathing, you try to change up your tempo, and you still eat it.
I do appreciate a good laugh. It's wholesome trolling.
Now they're playing on the ramp. Good
Wholesome
flashes.
trolling
Looks
is
like there's still a chance here for Brokey.
chaotic good.
Oh, that's a scout coming in.
Woxic no.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Second scout headshot. Madger peeling Kerrigan off the play. Twist is alive though. Oh, Woxic's third. Nothing but
The girl who
headshots
colors.
so far.
Through single.
I feel like that's a Game of Thrones title.
Turnaround moment here for Aurora.
The
5
girl who
rounds straight
colors.
out of phase. Finally able to post another one to the scoreboard, and it is all thanks to Woxic.
The man also went mental back on Nuke. And just put up a Scout 3K that there is no counterplay to. Every shot's just perfect. The flashes have been on point.
Brokey's out of there with no shot.
I bet it would be a really pretty song, too.
Tries to give himself a little more wiggle room, dodging flashes all the while.
The girl who
He
colors.
misses. Spam's gonna come through with chance to stop Xantares as well. At least you could have cut off one end of the attack.
Chirping is not wholesome, despite how often you mention someone's family while doing so.
One step higher. Only temporary
Oh,
though
no.
with that hold. 4v3 advantage.
Oh,
Twists
I went
tickle
too
by the
far.
flames, stuck into the corner.
Too far.
Some space.
Flames spread, but the bomb is planted. Man advantage held onto here by Aurora. Frozen takes
Everyone
to the
makes
top over the
mistakes.
smoke. We've got
Everybody
this
has those
Cosplayer
days.
with head tucked down, letting teammates take contact. But they give a lot of space over to FaZe. They let everybody tuck in. And Twists uses that moment to get another double.
Tuck it
You've
in,
got
tuck
this
it
Woxic on
in.
the hand, and they find the retake thanks to Twists. Another triple kill moment comes through. Tied game at 6 rounds all. How do FaZe find the runway? Yeah, those were CT side specific.
It was accidentally white. It was meant to be red.
See what he can bring to the table
I
on
went
the
too
attack.
far.
For now, it's long control for
I got
FaZe,
lost
at
in the
least
sauce.
doorway's earned. And that does get Aurora to scramble back. Whoa, Soulfly, first blood here in second pistol. Quick execution of Jacob, putting him back in the dirt.
No fun for Jacob.
And 9 from the highest rated player coming into map. Oh!
And days after a night of Among Us, the usual suspects
Two
where I'll
taps
go.
from Woxic,
Better
and
make sure
let's
I'm
say
not
this
lifetime
is
banned
Aurora's
for the
pistol,
third
shall
time.
we?
No one's wasting ammo.
I don't know how you guys got banned
He
from
tries to bring it
games.
back, but he meets his maker in Xantares. And that is going to be Aurora.
It's interesting.
taking over with a CT pistol, winning both pistols in this map as well. Getting a bit of
I don't know. I feel like
Aurora, though,
games are
definitely having to
weird
apply
though.
too much
Like it's
pressure.
either really
Woxic
easy or
keeps on
really
top
hard
of
to
these,
do it,
which
depending on the
sitting
game.
here with MP9 and a flash and no real close support.
And Call of Duty flags some
Oh,
weird
he could
words.
Still just whittle this down by drawing them into him, but as he tries to chuck that flash up, Brokey strikes well. Madger dropping nades, big walkout from Kerrigan's a one and done. And while Madger's still concerned about Catwalk, he's got to forego control of long, you'd think. Flash comes through, he's gonna try to pounce him and Xantares.
Maybe you are, but I'm not.
Catwalk play from Jacob, a step
Lord,
too
what an
late.
answer.
Aurora called into the
I mean,
action
I guess
on
you
their
ask,
terms,
you
will get
answer.
themselves established to the 3-round lead.
That'll make it harder for Kerrigan to make the perfect call. He'll have to guess a bit.
To each their own, but not thine of mine.
It's Jacob as the tip of the spear right now. Utility pressure's coming through.
I poured out so much white paint. Oh my
Jacob was
god.
into the corner, so he dodges it.
Do another coat on this side. It's not that I don't want to do it. I'm just like amazed that I poured out that much. I didn't.
Oh, I thought it was going to be coming
appreciate the progress. I just didn't intend it
I don't know.
be infinitely
Out your
painting.
tunnels back into mid. Okay,
Just
here
doing
it
a
is.
little.
Has to be Xantares to help out.
Just doing a little.
Oh, Jacob's fourth of the map. Secures
I didn't
the
ask
mid
why.
course,
I just
secure the
said
into the B box.
musingly that I find it interesting.
That's when Soulfly strikes, but
I don't think I want to know
Guy
why.
out mid. Kerrigan and Frozen combine for the window pinch.
You know, in the same way, like, you know, you may love your girlfriend, but you probably don't want to see her, like, shoving a tampon in, because that's a little uncomfortable. I don't want to know why, because that's a little uncomfortable.
5 rounds into it.
Those are inside thoughts that may come outside for you, but they can be inside for me.
2 rifle rounds where he
Oh,
literally
giggity.
just got
That
killed
sounded
through the
dirty.
door across.
But still.
There's no guarantee Watson can even fall back through those mid doors, so for now he will remain adamant down here in the tunnels.
This is wild. I mean, this is a huge risk. What
Choose
Jacobs
your words
potentially wants to
wisely.
do, but
I'm holding a
can't
nerf.
totally support him that they drop their guard a little bit. They just don't think he'd be playing that risky. The Molly comes to top mid, walks against an escape route now.
It's a bit
Ignorance
odd, but he
is
still
bliss.
afforded an escape. Nobody actually top middle to make sure he does get
It's
boxed in
bliss.
and stay there.
I like them playing the dangerous games like that.
You know the tampon's there, just like I know the behavior is there, but where? I don't know. I see nothing. I know nothing. She of the ignorance.
But there's twists. We've had to wait for him to get back into the action. Doesn't waste a bullet.
Off the shoulder beat.
Major riddled. And then twist cross.
Now as soon as I touted off about the white paint being infinite, it's running low, which is fine. It just means I have to pour out a little bit more so the side is even. Or depending on where I get to, I can remember my stop spot. Maybe.
He doesn't believe it because there's only 3
Maybe.
up. Someone would have been that deep on long. Wise move from Kerrigan.
Twist able to fall back into the ramp now. This position.
I think we got EP on the last map.
Brokey will not miss the chance to strike one down, but Soulfly close proximity. That's gonna catch Twist off guard. Kerrigan drawn back from long. It's damage both directions, an arm shot that can't whiff, but he does, and that opens the door for Woxic's clutch. You've got him in the open. Woxic right there to end it. Jumps on top of.
It's not bubbling so far, which is good. It's also humid though. That's probably helping.
1 kill with the health in his position.
Sneaky moment here for
They're
Jacob.
so grouped up inside of long. I mean,
That's all they've got.
it's not that bad of a place to be in, but they will turn around multiple times.
Hoppers given a chance to just dump utility. Frozen tag by that one down to half, but you've got Kerrigan trying to run this up point blank. He'll get stuck by Xantares.
Down at the Panini shack.
Oh, it's a double and Twist's helping hand. Serves up
Good
the
lord.
kills. Bomb has been scooped back
That's so
up.
oddly specific.
For Acadia. Does he press his luck?
He wants to.
Pushes the
It's almost kind of wholesome though. Almost.
Bomb tucked in behind the
Almost.
boxes.
If you happen to have diamond or club stickers, you can put them on there when it dries too.
For the 2v3.
I'm thinking that's an excellent suggestion.
Thinking about the money.
Actually, stickers wise especially.
Back now.
I have.
FaZe Clan pull off this split. It's the lurk out middle into
Is
the
that
mid
dry?
smoke.
Yes. I just got the top of that.
5-0
That's
start to the
differentiable.
first half, a 4-0 start to the second.
because that's about the end of the white paint. I have. I don't know which is which, but this is an envelope that my pictures are usually in, which reminds me I need to restock and organize my prints and stickers.
Contact on Cat. No lurks in place. They've got to brute force this.
I read sticks as stickers. Maybe you were just being cute. I have temporary tattoos that I think we could put over. I'd like to at least put some of these on there, and then a couple of the hearts and diamonds. Maybe one of these if they'll fit.
One smoke and lose.
But otherwise, I think everything else is too big. The last one of my tattoo sheets, I won't be perfect Harley this year, but I'm doing my own version of Harley that is DIY. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm not trying to match like perfect character like Suicide Squad Harley, like the 2 years ago.
Shows us the quality
That was meant to be perfect.
all day long now.
Merp.
There it is.
Yeah,
I don't even need to watch any more of this.
Spy and, oh,
Next. 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 It's like a blessing and a curse as a streamer because you don't always understand what you're reading right away. It takes a couple times. But then on the plus side, you can virtually read through like any typo. And it's nice. Your brain just fills in the attempted blanks. Oh, I have more! I didn't realize I had pieces. I've got more. Happy. Reason everyone pops so hard for your shenanigans. So often it's shit they don't want to laugh at. It just makes it harder for them. Oh, good golly. Hit enough one-liners like that and then wonder why you get lifetime banned. Not why in terms of what did I do, but in terms of which one did me. Leaves it very open for interpretation, I would assume. My dyslexia is so dumb. So helpful. Dolphins. A little heart. Some more hearts. I can do a bunch of tattoos this year if I want to. Oh, it says he loves me. I couldn't figure that one out. I feel like that makes a lot more sense on camera than in front of my face. Instructions for how to temporary tattoo. A lot of hearts. Lucky you? I think I have 2 of those then.
And again, Frozen's very low here. Nade, if he didn't fall back there, he would have been dead. Still got 50 seconds. So he can find the bomb here, Zero. Oh, it's all the way in front. I was gonna say he could try to escape.
I think it would transfer well. Otherwise, I could just use them as stencils for what I do want to paint on. Or do want to have on it. That's the thought process.
Right. He can't make his way towards the A side, but Frozen
Or
could strike.
why do I save like the stupidest tiny little things? Because why not?
Frozen now with no kick comes up.
Because why not?
Advantage 0.
Welcome, Space. Hope you're having a good weekend so far.
So he's just taking the only position really that Frozen can look into. Straight health didn't matter at all. That is very, very smart. Right out the gate, close all the time, but not quite able to actually win the rounds. And that frustration is going to build pretty quickly, I think. Not a ton of money on Tyloo, so that's something to think about. Maybe they can get
Don't
rid
want
of it
those
and
to run away.
start to pull together some rounds here. Kerrigan, oh, he's burned out of the corner. It's a very
I
nice
think
spot,
I
to
like
be
it.
honest. And
I
once
think it's
again,
going
the bomb side
okay.
looks very undefended here. Headshot from Jacob, twists, he lands that one.
There it is.
Later tonight or tomorrow, I'll slide the reloader
Well, of course, there's no kits available here.
and see
Retake utility as we
see
will
what
see
it decides to
smoke
do, if
and a
it's gonna
flash.
chip off.
The AK has been blown.
Be
out
chip
of
off the old block.
3 of them head towards short. They
Thank
spot
you.
it, but still
That's
have
an
time to
attempt.
recover. Okay,
I think
well,
it's
there you
working
go.
out how I want it.
That's a great shot by
I,
Jacob.
however, almost just drank the paint water.
And a very
That's
confident
not
tap
a good
from
job.
Mojo. Frozen low on health and he's got no chance here. It's another close round. They keep getting almost there, but not quite. What a setup this is if you peek into view and then Jacob is in front of it still, but it might not be put into play the way that they were looking for. There's already so much pressure in middle that they had to escape and fall a little bit further back. It's so quick. He wasn't even aiming that.
That's
I think he was
weird.
aiming on
My
the other side of it.
collarbone feels tight.
I'd love to see that
Like
from
right
his point
here.
of view. Jacob, very smart. Takes the kill. The ball's on the other side. If he can find G as well, that would be disastrous for Tyloo.
Jacob is looking very sharp right now. It bodes well for
Did
them.
consider roughing it up
He
with
can convert this
sandpaper,
round, of course,
but I think how I'm methoding
switching
this
angles, reading the game well.
will work how I want it.
Problem is,
And if it
once
doesn't,
Jacob
then
Murphy
we'll
and
do
he
it
is
that way.
deep behind enemy lines.
But I think this is working
Throwing
so
them over the
far.
hole. Frozen aware
Because I
of
want it to look very imperfect. And I'm afraid if I sanded it, then I would get too fixated on sanding it perfectly, and then it would look too perfect, and then I'd have to distress it more later with sandpaper. So maybe if we just remove sandpaper entirely from the equation, it'll look naturally distressed enough,
God, they are getting absolutely
and then
boiled
therefore
in
it would be
individual teams
perfect.
right now.
By one person.
Oh, we'll find out. Never painted a Nerf
In
gun
terms of the
before.
skill we're seeing.
Very delicious paint water. The forbidden
Oh my God,
coffee.
he's gonna need at least 2. He can get 2 here. 1.5. That's round.
Versus the coffee.
Especially because that AWB is so valuable.
I mean, low-key, it doesn't look bad, but I'm not drinking that.
Could stick around for an exit, but even this has got me worried.
Save that all, Brokey. If you go down, that is, it's not really going to make a huge difference if you get one and survive. He gets this kill. Okay, that's fine.
Aw, thank ya.
I say surely not.
Thank ya, thank ya.
There is a version of
Kind of looks
Brokey
more like hot
some
chocolate.
distant past now
Hot,
that will
hot,
try
hot,
this, but
hot
I feel
chocolate.
like
It kind of does.
no longer
I don't like hot chocolate,
around for
thankfully.
Mercury. 3 kills, very well done.
It's just hot chocolate milk.
Frozen.
I don't like
so
chocolate
good
milk.
in these sort of positions. Used to have his wingman Rain with him. This time it's Jacob. Can they
It's
hold
giving
off?
Vietnam
Find
flashbacks.
out.
Oh God.
Frozen, he's burned out of the corner.
No, we don't want to drink the forbidden
Zero's getting
coffee.
the entries no matter what. Good shot onto Carrigan. This might be
I'm gonna
all
leave
over.
these colors out.
They're not even putting up a
The
fight
tape
here.
was a good idea.
But even a team, they didn't even get a kill. It was a team kill. They ran
Excuse
into
me.
the flames.
I think I'm gonna end up making fake leg pieces with wire and tape.
Silver lining in the past,
Not like
that he
full
was
leg
close.
pieces, but change the top of my skates a little bit with wire and tape from the side that my dog chewed. Because then one, it won't look so janky, and two, it'll be
So
unique
disappointing that they can't
and special.
just even find the one. Even one kill would have set twist up coming in from
Actually, my
connected.
roller skates are blue. Maybe I should leave some blue on here. Like the bottom Nerf part. That might actually split up the black and red well. And then I would match my skates. And then I wouldn't have to paint my skates. I thought about that. They don't exactly match, but they could.
Mercury's no longer
If done
alive,
right.
but Mosius hit some good shots, and Zero's actually 8 and 2.
Hit this.
Yeah, you got to. Carrius is in and there. He's going to be fighting him for the back, but it's going to be another 10-15 seconds before he gets there. Flash to set it
Excuse
up. Really good timing, and a little bit of a peek out coming in. Jacob not hitting the headshot, but the orb is still here. Brokey
Poorly thought out gift from a neighbor. Oh no. Oh no.
He will open up with a double, and I don't even know what to say. He had a couple of opportunities there.
No good deed goes unpunished.
The utility use for Tyloo shuts down the face.
I will be at Chicago Entertainment and Comic Expo, C2E2, this coming weekend, I think it is, 27th through 29th. And I'll be at Chicago Exotica the 10th through 12th
They post up a
of
few
April.
weapons. The star players need to shine though. Frozen and Jacob leading the way. Brokey down to a deagle. Twist on the Famous.
Don't do meetups. Just go to conventions.
Your face fan, that's all you're thinking about. Like, where's the
It's
jump
coming
start?
up so
Where's the spot
soon.
that's gonna light something
I'm
this
glad
team?
there's like a decent, what, week, 2 weeks between them though.
But
That
again,
was
the
so much
discipline
having them
is
overlap
looking
last year.
very good.
There's a full week empty in between the two.
Zero mistakes. Good
And
recovery.
prepare for C2E2 this week.
Execution.
And
Everything has just been perfect.
But the timing is
then
very
prepare
good.
for
A 3-man
Exotica
push at
next
the
week.
A-ramp, but it looks like we're gonna see
And
another
not
beast
stress
coming
about
in.
either,
They'll-
because
they'll
that's
realize
easy,
way too
right?
late phase. Tyloo are setting it up. They've got some grenades as well. See if they can smoke off the market. Flash going over. A little bit of
Oh, I meant to look at, I think Restream has an app. And I've been doing everything through the browser. So maybe that would be less intensive, and I might try that going forward at least once, and then if it's still wonky and not holding, then I'll just pick a platform and mobile it
Really nice idea. You're right, Twist, and you
for
even
any
more than
convention
one.
streams.
You can't blame
He's
him.
not even wrong.
Where's
Exactly.
the
You can't blame
Apple
him.
Store?
Like, he's not going to win the round in one famous skill from that position. He
I don't know if
needed
it
two.
has an app or not.
And Mosier, head on a swivel, will take him down. It's getting rough up
Excuse
there
me,
now.
I could not stop
8-0.
yawning.
That has to change. A little bit of mid-control right now being put in, but most of it is in the B hallways.
They are coming towards B, but they are changing things up. So Brokey, this is what you want to see.
Okay.
As we mentioned, Carrigan, the weak link in terms of the fragging department of this squad, he's going to be focused in towards that B bomb site.
We did not
Brokey, though,
hold strong
striking this season
through
hasn't been
this
great. He's
tournament.
at least one and survived.
Oh, it doesn't have an app.
What is this from Mercury? He's pushed in. Brokey gets the kill.
That's
Jacob,
stinky.
a bit of killer instinct on him. Gam Young's opening up on the other side. Brokey lands another
I mean,
connection
there's
on the sniper.
other ones, but it would just be more money to spend on something to
3 kills for Brokey.
something,
That's exactly
and
what you like to see.
Play well.
That's true. He wouldn't be the first player though to get fast-tracked past where he needed to be, go back, and then
Bigo
come back
Live
again.
is
Like,
still a
that's
thing.
That's a pattern that many have followed.
That one I think completely safe for work,
Uh-oh.
Actually, in the
but it
inside
started off as a
press
camming platform
is what I normally get told.
like a handful of years
Voices
ago.
in your own head.
Pre-Panini.
They're leaking at
I think like mid or post-pandemic,
Zero.
whatever we would
He might have
consider
won around that. That
post-pandemic.
was the defense, apart from Brokey.
It turned into like a TikTok style app, but it used to be a camming app.
He's dead and gone
Just like how Kick started with cam girls in the bikini section. Now you can just cam girl in a bikini. You can't fully cam girl. Mostly, kind of. A lot goes under the radar. Not judging it, just not doing it myself. Just because everyone else might be jumping off a bridge. Just for the sake of words doesn't mean I'm going to. I am kind of surprised it's not an app either. Although, I mean, it doesn't have a mobile stream portion of it. It has a stream from browser portion that you can just so happen to use on your phone because the phone has a browser. So is it really meant to be for live stream, like IRL streaming on your phone? Probably not. It's probably for the silly geese who don't want to figure out OBS or Streamlabs or anything of the sort and just stream from your computer that way. So it's nice and intuitive in that way. I'm sure it works phenomenally on desktop, but I don't think it's made for mobile. Otherwise, it would be made for mobile.
5 versus 3 now down to a 2-on-5, and G and Jam Young are waiting for a mistake.
Kind of bums me out though, because Restream costs money if you want to use a certain amount of channels, and I use it for multi-streaming for other stuff too. So I pay for it, and I wish they would do more with it.
I think we just had like a little info bubble about the discrepancy for Jacob on the CT side.
I'm surprised, honestly, at this point, like with the development of streaming and how long it's been around and how big multi-streaming is, that there's not one really good thing to go with. Like OBS, for example. It's pretty well versed that almost everyone is using OBS or Streamlabs OBS. Slobs. It's very rare that I feel like you come across someone that isn't using that specifically. So why hasn't the mobile streaming adapted? Why? Why? It's gate kept by the rich and famous, because they have their own private servers to do those things off of. Maybe that's what it is, honestly, but in like a more broad spectrum, like not even hating, but in the sense of the information just isn't out there, because no one sharing that information is at the price point to develop and share that information. That too, it would take a lot to host. It would require a lot on whatever the mobile streaming end is.
It's just Twits we need to see with his AK-47 now. Step up. Mercury, does he check his corners?
There's a knife out as well. He's going to find him with nothing in his hands at all. That's dangerous.
Get out of there.
Back around the corner. There's no backup immediately, but he's locked in here. He couldn't escape. But still, that's going to be really frustrating for FaZe.
This is brutal.
You're setting up. You're trying to have the communication about the timing, and suddenly, they could get shot at the window in the middle.
Tied at some point.
Now 1 versus 2. Brokey, he saved him once before.
I'd have to keep someone on staff to handle their frequent updates. Yeah, at least one person would have to be on call like 24/7. Not one person specifically, but at least 3 people like throughout the week to be on call 24/7 for an issue. Something like that, you'd seriously lose. That's very volatile, now that I think about it. Something like that, you would probably lose half of your customers overnight if it didn't work for, say, like 2 hours. I would be pissed at it, and I'd be willing to try it again, but if it ever didn't work again, I would be done with it. So, I mean, I'm not a patient person, to be fair, but I look at things like that, like fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me, you can't get fooled again. That's probably it. Usually a few things like this are developed in the shadows for a select few, knowing what you know about things in certain other walks of life. I'm sure it's more than available on the dark web, but I'm not going there. I am the light, apparently. Patient enough to use Nestle powder. You know what, the strawberry milk was good, and I low-key liked when it would still be crunchy at the bottom. Like, that was satisfying.
truth to success.
Fool me, you can't get fooled again.
Yeah, he did. He was on the comms.
Says
immediately.
W.
I definitely know. 100%. Carrigan shot him down back. It's great communication, great awareness from Mercury. They needed that frozenness out of the round now. And Jacob, it's not a thing he could do, unfortunately, alone against the world in that one. 12 for Tai Lu.
Convert 2 rounds just to get to overtime. Good map control, 45 seconds. Smoke down towards the connector.
We did not get to overtime. Plot twist. So pretty, though. We're gonna die, but so pretty. It's so pretty.
Carrigan shuts him down cleanly. It's Jam Young, the superstar of Tai Lu, to try and save the day. Yes.
I don't think I'm sleepy. I'm just like exhausted in general.
Fighting for his life, and they have fended them off.
I feel awake and alert.
From the commitment here, the decoy, there it is. Committed in towards the A side.
But I know this week has been super long. Be physically and emotionally intensive. Today was stressful too. I literally made it to the dog food store with 4 minutes to spare. That's so upsetting. I didn't go the last few days, and I should have because I wasn't feeling well. Then I needed to today. Still wasn't feeling well. I was driving so fucking slow, and I left the house late. Jeez Louise. It was not well executed. I walked in and I'm like, I'm sorry, I know it's almost closing.
Maybe just a contact play into this one.
I didn't feel too bad though, because when I was there was a family leaving. They're gonna have chicks soon. I saw the little schedule on the counter, but I didn't actually like look at it. But mayhaps the next time I go get dog food, I have some baby chickies to show you guys. Not to bring home, but just to be friends with for like 2 seconds. Cute little floofers. I have chickies and duckies. I'm excited. They're just so damn cute. They're scary when they grow up, but otherwise they're really cute. Going to the feed store and seeing the baby chicks and baby ducks was always adorable. I know. They're just so tiny and squeaky. And they look so cozy under their little light and just... They're so innocent. They're so baby. They're so cute. I love them. Can't bring any home yet, though. Just reach in and scoop up a handful. I don't do that because I'm not confident with birds. I would need a helper to show me what to do. I haven't handled a baby chick since we did the baby chick hatchlings in like 2nd or 3rd grade. We had the incubator and the eggs and all of the everything. Mine hatched, but after they hatched, you couldn't tell them apart. So you didn't know whose was whose for any reason. Which is fine. I just remember being so surprised. Like, if mine hatched, I'm gonna get to see it every day. And then you couldn't tell them apart at all. They all look the same. They're baby chicks. Little floofy macaronis.
No one's scared, no one's hunting for information, you don't need it. They're aware the money's
They were
completely
so
ruined.
cute, though.
Nice sort of smoke, force their hand, and here comes
I haven't handled a baby chick since then. I just like to look at them. Tell them they're adorable. Positive affirmations.
Of the B defense, because that is where they're going. Bomb is there. There's going to be a fake at the A bomb site.
I'm a big baby.
Quite a bit, just given the earlier information that
I don't know. In my head, I'm like the Hulk. And one wrong move and I'll hurt the baby. I don't know. I'm also not confident with birds, but I feel like somehow I'll hurt them because I don't know what I'm doing. It makes me scared. Yeah, Serena Smash. I don't know. I get nervous sometimes to pick up the garden snakes because they're so tiny, the little baby ones. When they're really, really baby, I have to push them into a broom. I can do a dustpan. I'm afraid to pick them up because I feel like I'll like shake at the last minute and like smush their little heads. Which I don't know why that would happen. It's a forbidden thought that it just exists.
Well,
I don't know.
Twist's had such a slow performance on the ride,
Handle a
it's
wild rat,
fantastic to
but
see him leaping into
afraid of
life, that Galone
smushing
himself,
baby
3
snake and
huge kills,
baby
single-handedly
chickie. I
winning
don't
the
know.
round. Upgrades to the AK-47 now. FaZe are back to their winning ways.
Who do you think I feel at my
Looks
size?
like we're going to be flashing in towards middle.
I mean, you at least have an excuse for it. You got big man hands. I'm just, I don't know. Every once in a while, I have like a shake or a tremor, and I'm afraid that it'll happen in that moment of like holding. I've dropped many important things before, many expensive things before, and babies are priceless. Dust panning snakes is perfectly fine. I hope so. I feel bad that I kind of like traumatized the little ones, but I'm too afraid. I'm not afraid of getting bit. I'm not afraid of getting bothered. I'm nervous handling something that fragile. Like when I was handling Stripes, Nibbler, and Daisy when they were first born, the first about 2 weeks that I would hold them, I would literally be shaking, like trembling, because I was so nervous. Just fragile babies. It was quite scary. The first time I had Daisy on my chest and I had to like clean her eyes, it was like shaking like this. It was scary. It's just a baby. It's just a fragile baby. It's just a baby.
It was looking quite nice, as we mentioned. It's Twist trying to show presence and key players on that side of the map, which she did a great job. Yeah. Sure. Those are your main options when you don't have much firepower. And we'll see what
it's a good thing Void was a good mom, because I was not confident with them at all. Like, I tracked and monitored and made sure everything was fine, but she really did the most for that one. I give Void so much credit for being a good mommy.
That could have been really devastating. Now the rest of them outside of B on the ramp.
She did all the hard work.
Smoke has been devastating so far.
I just had to refill the bowls and clean up.
So I think for FaZe, yeah, they go into it. They use it as a bit of a staging area, and they come popping right out of motion. Mercury, not impressed.
It's our little silver man doing. We managed to tie.
6-6 at the end of the half.
Woo.
They really did come back to life there, tying things up, and the 2-0 is very possible. It's on the menu right now. Tyler, I like.
Aw, Buddy is poking out.
My God, he's trying so hard for the team, and somehow he's become their best.
He's interested in the Caturday strike.
Snipes away with the USP. Down the middle, Jacob setting up to bullets.
Just chilling like a villain.
But that slowed down Tyler so much.
My favorite piece of YouTube with Decoy is in the mix. There's a replay of
Like where he's at now versus being scared and hiding versus, excuse me, having some confidence and curiosity and being present versus hiding away. He's doing very well with that. He really is at like Gigi's level of, maybe even further than Gigi's level of acceptance and socialization.
Down the toilet, unfortunately, Carrigan only the 1 kill, but
and that's just a few days versus a couple months. I don't think he is as timid as Gigi at all. I don't think he's fully feral. I don't know if he's sociable. He was very hissy and unsure, but not mean in any way, just scared. When people think hissing cats are mean cats, and when they hiss, it's because they're scared. It's their way of saying, oh my god, I don't like that, hold on, stop. Like, please, I don't want this anymore, I'm scared, I don't like that. This is making me uncomfortable. Hiss is not as mean as many people think it is. And he did a little bit of that, and, like, cowered when I was cleaning the litter box, but understandably, he's never had a litter box. There's a weird human hovering over. There's a poop scoop coming on in. Like, that's big changes. And I gave him a moment to like think about if he wanted to attack me, and he seemed to like settle a little bit. I don't think he wants to be mean at all. If I push his boundaries, I think he would fully swipe me. But I can see him being a really sweet guy. He's a little more wild than Tank when Tank first came in. But Tank had, you know, a good 6 years of being outside under his belt. This guy's only been out for about 2. He hasn't learned the full ways of the world yet. It is really nice to know that I had another neighbor who was taking care of him. I appreciate good people in the world. Cat hisses when she smells the boxer that sometimes passes your house. But she encroaches and goes on to attack instead of backpedaling. Oh god, Voya did that with Tiger earlier. I didn't close the hallway door. I just closed the gate without thinking because I was just walking in here for a second. And Voya went full attack mode towards Tigra. I thought he had calmed down with dogs. He's okay with Pippi, as long as Pippi is not in the room, but okay with her on the other side of the gate. He was okay with Chauncey. Like, he didn't get defensive with Chauncey at roughly, you know, around this point. But he did not like Tigra. He said, I will fucking kill you. Voya takes his dog anger very seriously. He does not like dogs. But his cat would hiss when you stopped petting his butt. He was expressing his displeasure. He said, pat the butt. Kitty, 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 kitty. I think it's amazing the bold confidence that some cats have. Like, Voya's just fully ready to take on a boxer. And so is yours. I do wonder what Tigra is, but I want to do a DNA test first and foremost on Ringo. I want to know what the hell he is. And he's so big. I want to be aware of any health issues that have been documented that he might have. There's videos of cats chasing bears. Cats are fucking reckless, man. If they don't like something, they don't like it. It's like the most amazing but terrifying thing about cats is they will literally fight to the death. Like, most animals will give up at some point. Cats will get so ADHD to their own detriment, fixated on something, that they will literally die for their cause. That's why it's so dangerous to groom cats. You have to be very, very aware of their body language and expressions. Thank goodness for the cats. The bears are scared. I'd be scared if there was a crazy cat running at me too. I used to be a little bit afraid of Asshole Jones when he would come by. He would swipe very unexpectedly. This little fucker, he was such an asshole. My neighbors took him in, which is really nice, but I still see him sometimes. But understandable for indoor-outdoor, because he's an asshole. He would rub up on you and walk around so happy and act like he wants butt scritches and just chill and be the cutest boy. And sometimes he'd let you pet him, and sometimes you would go to pet him and he would just fucking attack you. He was not a nice guy. He was zazzy. Though thinking back, he was probably just not neutered and extremely overstimulated. Kind of like how Tank gets. Decent.
You're banking it all on the idea that those USPs will connect right away.
Which was painful.
So early on. Utility being set up here. They're going to try and make their way up towards long. Here comes Frozen. Takes a bullet and a phase 20 HP.
Tank was definitely seasoned by the world in a different way than Gigi or almost Gunther. I don't know if that's their life experiences or just their age. Because Gigi probably isn't even a year old. She might be like a year old now. I think we estimated she's about 8 months. And that was January, so she's like 10 months now.
So massive.
AG is like 2.
They do get a bit of momentum, and it is the harder side.
It's the most CT-sided map we have in the pool by far. It was FaZe who went up 5-0 in Ancient. That certainly won't be happening here. Mac 10s, hunting them
Ooby
down,
zoomy zoo,
front
jeez,
cash.
dude.
Blink and you miss it. We don't even get to really talk about the round before it's over. B-Stack shut down. Famous for Jacob. You can see they had to focus on getting helmet to Ian Molotov towards the barrels. Deep breath. Can Carrigan find any more impact? He's done so
Exit.
much so
Stage
far.
right.
This time goes down with nothing. Down to Jacob. What have you got for us, kid?
on the wrong side of the smoke. He was playing this off angle outside of the bomb site, so he can't even really get back in.
I still cannot believe the boys got into it and I brought almost Gunther in.
They're really trying to make sure
I feel so bad for that. They were probably so scared and so freaked out. But now I know. Next time we do a TNR, which I need to figure out a good recovery space if he's going to be chilling for a couple weeks. And then get the next appointment lined up. But for the next one, we put the boys in separate spaces because we freaked out. We freaked out very much. No offense to Zeke, but I think Zeke's kind of dumb. I think Voya focused in on him because I think Zeke was closest to the door and got the most scared when I opened it kind of fast. I think Zeke's kind of dumb. He's not dumb, but maybe he's a little simple. Watching him do what he doesn't really think things through, which is very cat style. But, like, he just stops and doesn't know what to do in the middle of his doings. And then I have to help him. He's a little simple. He's my little Forrest Gump with his little limps. You gotta keep an eye on him for the next few days, because he is still limping a little bit from everyone arguing. If it stays the way it is now for a few more days, I'm gonna take him in with Voya on Tuesday? Tuesday. Because Tuesday Voya gets his anti-inflammatory shot. Zeke is a precious boy. He's wonderful, and I'm so grateful he's here. He's just an interesting cat. He's very insecure, but he's very demanding. And he's just a little simple. He's a simple kind of man. Don't have to be smart when you're as handsome as he is. He is so handsome. I feel bad because of life happenings. I didn't do like themed Valentine's pictures for him. So there was a volunteer that loved him at NAWS. So I send little updates every holiday. Did Zeke in a Santa hat for Christmas. I gotta send her a little Easter message. With bunny ears or something on Zeke. Because I missed Valentine's Day. Does your cat attack you because you're dumb and simple? No. Probably not. I don't know why that would be triggering for a cat. Maybe she just thinks you're a toy. Sometimes Tank looks at me, and then his eyes get wide, and he just attacks me. He sees me as a toy. I think what it is, though, is most of the things I'm doing with him, I'm, like, bending over, so my arms are dangling. And I think that's why he thinks my arms are toy. It seems like he does that ridiculously with my arms, but he gets overstimulated and does it with my legs. I think he thinks my arms are big string toys. Definitely thinks you're a toy, and she's right. Well, there you go. The end of the coffee era. Shh, don't tell anyone about the wind-up in my back. It's secret. Shh. Shh. No one wound me up last night. That's why I wasn't here. Tonight I found the tools. I set up my chair specifically to sit the way I'm comfortable sitting, and I'm sitting uncomfortably because I'm smart. All those sing-songs make sense. Music box, inner workings. Exactly. Precisely. I mean, no, that's all me. No embellishments there. No embellishments there. Imagine, though, that would actually be nice. Little wind up to exist. I mean, I guess that's what coffee is supposed to be, but it's just not.
At least he's gonna get a bomb plant here.
Oh, I did get some new coffee at Aldi though. I stopped because I just needed a couple things. And it's quite good. I also got pink berries. I've never seen these before, and I left them out on the counter because I thought maybe they wouldn't be ripe because I'm an idiot. And of course, because it's from Aldi, it molded like within the first day, so I only have a few of them left. I think they're called pink berries. No. Pink berry and berry. Does that make it clearer? No? Oh god. What are they called? They're like white strawberries. Pineberry? Is that what it is? Did I read it wrong? I might have read it wrong. That they're pine berries. I haven't tried them yet. I saved them to tell you all about them. I was amazed by them. Pine berries. These pine berries taste like pine berries. I'm curious what they're gonna taste like though. I'm gonna grab them.
That might have been the opportunity. What an absolute sicko it would have been if he could have got that one. That would have been the clutch of the tournament so far, but still just barely touches him, and it's enough to take him down. Mojia's been very consistent in this series overall. We're going to have to give him a lot of credit if they end up winning this one, which is, by the way, absolutely still on the table. 9-7, but they're on that CT side. Oh, they're trying to get through the tunnel. Zeros here. It's a big opportunity for the young kid to step it up, but he gets traded out. A lot of damage on the Frozen, and he'll be an easy pick-off on the following. Now they're in trouble. Jumping on the other side to try and not get shot in the knees. Jacob alone, and Moja again, a good double kill.
Oh, that changes everything.
It does.
All of a sudden,
No way to dodge that one in the hedges. Mercury, did he do some more work? It's very slow.
I will say though, Aldi has the best strawberries right now. They are so good and sweet. I'm a big baby about strawberries. If they are not sugary sweet themselves, I put honey on them. I don't like sour fruit unless it's like raspberries or blackberries. Not really blackberries, sometimes. I'll tolerate it with blueberries, otherwise I'm picky. They're so cute. This one turned kind of pinkish. He's adorable. But this one is more all white. Out of the whole container, I have like 6 of them left. 7. I'm sad. They are firm. They're nice and firm. Pink berries. I think it was Hellboy that has a wind-up man in it. I think so. It's been a long time since I've seen Hellboy. I've never read the comics. It's been a while. I wonder if Voya could have these. Voya loves strawberries. I had strawberries with dinner last night, and Voya got his own strawberry to chew on. So he kept stealing my strawberry butts. And I didn't want him to eat the butts. Because, like, the butt is a butt. Voya loves berries. So I let him chew on a strawberry like a dog.
He was holding for the whole time.
It smells like a tart strawberry. I'm nervous.
And a 5-on-3.
Gotta convert this, lads. You lose this, the game's over.
Yeah, 5-on-3 here. That's not going to be acceptable.
It's supposed to taste pineapple-y, isn't it? It just tastes like a strawberry. I mean, it was on sale. I'm not down and out about it. Strawberry is a strawberry is a strawberry. But I thought it'd be fancy and special.
Things can and will happen.
It was juicy.
If G gets a nice quick kill,
I'm ready to be wrong.
the spray down gets overlooked.
It just tastes like a strawberry, though.
That's true.
35 seconds.
Combined strawberry sweetness. Ugh, cold. I don't like cold in my teeth. It was, I squirreled it and it was cold. Known for a flavor that combines strawberry sweetness with tropical notes of pineapple. Low-growing fruit. Hybrid strawberry. It just tastes like strawberries.
Back up now. There's nobody in CT spawn any longer to help him out. It's just him in the corner.
It does look like an unripe berry. It's kind of funny looking. This one is way more white. They're kind of yellowing. I should probably eat the rest of them tonight.
They don't even check it.
I really thought we were gonna have a magical experience with this,
Yeah, he even got the fourth one as
but
well.
they just taste like strawberries.
Damn, dude.
Discover your dog likes tomatoes, which comes in handy because you're not a fan. Nice.
Mercury, and he's good for the opening. He sees a lot of players at this flank coming in. It might
It's
be with
funny and
EWG.
silly.
He's up for the hunt. Nice shot. Frozen.
Voya's watching closely. Oh, he is. He says Mom has strawberries.
A one-man lead.
They're...
FaZe need the next 2 minutes. They need overtime.
This is like for me.
They need to keep their spot alive here at Last Rotterdam. Everything is on the
You
line
can
for
have
this
some
one.
strawberries when you have dinner, okay?
Nobody at B.
Mom snack.
It's not a single defender.
Trying to address that situation.
This one tastes a little bit more pineapple-y.
Connected themselves in
Maybe the bigger it is, the less flavor it has. Like it's more just juicy. The smaller it is, maybe the more flavored it is. Voya's on his way up. He wants. I don't know if you can have this, buddy. He wants it. It does look like an unripe strawberry. I know I'm mean. I don't know if it's okay for him to have, though. I know he's licked pineapple before. Voya loves dragon fruit. He loves strawberries. Are pine berries safe for cats? Yes, cats can eat small amounts of ripe pine berries as they are not listed as toxic to felines. However, as an obligate carnivores don't eat fruit in their diet. In moderation. Yeah, I don't fucking care. It's holiday stuff. Some blueberries. They can eat strawberries, they can eat pineapple. I think it's okay. Do you want to try some?
But they do have the kits on
You
the
wanna try
CT
some?
side. Not out of the question. Frozen's quite far back. Brokey a little bit alone here. You gotta wonder if
gonna
there's
be a
chance
big
that these two
baby
last players
glunk
from FaZe
now.
get separated and can't help each
You wanna
other
try?
out. He's spotted. No one's coming through the monster tunnel. He knows they're coming in for the L bend. This is a strong setup for the AW.
It's not as juicy as a strawberry. It's still juicy, but it's not as juicy.
Goes down. Nice connection from Brokey. It should be plenty enough, but Zero, he's on it with the kid as well. Oh, he fakes it out.
Do you want it or no?
This is the high pressure.
Do you want it on your own terms?
Missed the timing. He's already run away, but the bomb, it gets it. 0.3 seconds.
Gotta say, running away.
He can taste the difference.
You seem pretty convinced.
He's not chowing down on it like a strawberry.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 24.
I don't taste too much of the difference, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fake berry. It's like, Mom, why are you giving me plastic fruit?
I'm sorry, yeah, we're gonna have to investigate.
You want a juice?
Cost them the tournament, Anders.
Definitely could. G.
Oh no, it's not the same for him.
Scopes. The timing is absurd. 50 seconds. It's still
Wonder if scent-wise, I don't have a good sense of smell. If it smells more pineapple-y, he'll lick pineapple out of curiosity, but he doesn't like to eat it, if that makes sense.
The bomb is being carried forward onto the site. 40 seconds on the clock here. Let's see if Tyloof got more in then. They don't want to play overtime.
It's good, it's just not the fanciest thing in the world like I thought it was. I'm not disappointed, I'm just underwhelmed. A basket of kisses for the babies. Thank you, thank you.
Doesn't take much of a mistake for FaZe to lose this round still. The kids
That's
are
not bad.
running, and they're gonna give it closer, trying to tap that ball.
Have the rest for dinner, and I'll bring you a real strawberry.
Spray down, and that is enough.
Because you like chewing on a strawberry and making strawberry mash. Welp. Yeah, we're out. I don't know what would be next. I would assume Texas. Although I feel like Texas would be like closer to June. It's like 3 months. I don't know. I was considering / hoping for some Sturm tonight. But we shall save that for another day. It is take care of Zoo +1 time. And make sure Voya gets his strawberry quota in for the night. Oh, you're being such a lump. I love you. I love you. Just take it over the world. Demanding strawberries. Stick 'em up. Stick 'em up. Oh, my body does not understand why I consumed. I'm sorry, buddy. I will be right back. I do not feel great. No shade on the pine berry. No shade on the pineberry. That was a me issue, not the pineberry issue. Get some good sleep tonight, Chaos. I appreciate you. Thank you for all of your support of the Stream the Dreams project. I hope the rest of the weekend is kind to you. It's gonna be a wrap for us tonight, Club Cult. The girl has to feed the zoo and +1 over here. Settle in for some eeps. I think it's gonna be pretty decent out tomorrow. Dogs are so happy to be going for regular walks again. I feel so bad. I'm a big baby about the weather. It'll be a little cooler Monday, but today it'll be in like the 60s, which is not bad. I'm 39, 53. Go for walks like half the week. We'll be happy with that. I will do my best. Do my best to take care of me and the zoo and the +1 almost Gunther BB. There's Big Gunther and Little Gunther. He's so dang cute. It's just in his little Heidi acorn at the moment. Like, in that moment, they're indifferentiable. Obviously, they look different, but it's... I have a soft spot in my heart for him. Ultimately, hi, Big Gunther. I'm gonna do what's best for him, and what he's most comfortable with. But Gunther's so cute. You're still breathing weird. Is it because it's warm in here? Zoo just loves to make me panic. I don't know. Hope you guys get some good sleep tonight too, and thank you, Cygenix. Appreciate the smooches, Midnight Dynamite. Thank you all for everything. Thank you all for your time tonight. Thank you for your chats. Thank you for your support, and thank you for your company. And more than anything, thank you for your time. Your time is very valuable. There's this finite thing that you only get so much of to do whatever you want with, and when you feel like spending it here, I appreciate it immensely. It is absolutely a marvelous experience to walk through life with you all, Club Cult. To paw through life with you all, if I may. I don't know how that became pawing through life, but that's how we paw through life. We're only on the up and up from here. I appreciate you all for it, whether it's for 2 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 hours. If I don't see you again for 2 years, our times collide is beautiful, magical, amazing, and wonderful. You bebs want to keep up with me offline, hop into Disky Boo, where we got the fun stuff, the socials, some more fun stuff, schedule for when I will see you bebs next, and thank you all for supporting the Stream the Dreams project. It means the world to me. Thank you, BBs. Something on my Twitch is always broken, I swear. Botchix is only pulling dreams, which is so funny. That's the only one that matters anyway, but it's cute. And by cute, I mean interesting, but we're gonna go with cute. Do me one favor until I see you bubs next, and that is, remember that you are wonderful, amazing, incredible, spectacular, fantastic, phenomenal, oh so gorgeous, oh so fantastic. All the good things in the world. Take all those compliments and put them in your back pocket, your side pocket, your cute little, I'm just saying this is pockets and it doesn't, your cute little hoodie pocket, your adorable little shirt pocket, floating in suspended animation, wherever it needs to go. Where does my butt go? Until I see you next, you sweet bubbos. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your night, beautiful rest of your weekend. Make good choices. Don't do anything I or the Guardian would not do. And soon, again, I shall see you. Get some good sleeps tonight, Club Cult. Get some good eats. And I shall see you all for the next one. Nighty night. Sleep tight. And don't let the bed bugs bite. Don't let the PB toe biters bite.